The apocalyptic game descended. Disasters erupted across the globe. Volcanoes, earthquakes, floods, scorching heat, viruses, and bitter cold. In just half a year, the population of Blue Star plummeted by 80% and civilization teetered on the brink of collapse. With no other choice, humanity could only enter the Doomsday game and undertake survival trials, seeking a sliver of hope to continue living. Fortunately, Tang Yu awakened a plugin called Super Tycoon. Thus, in the world of the Doomsday game, he started at a subway station and embarked on the path of buying up the entire world. Remember this, everyone, once you enter the Doomsday game, there is only one thing you must do. Live. Live and live again. Etch the following points into your minds. They concern your very lives and the hope for our base city survival. First, the very first thing upon entering the game is to confirm the specific Doomsday disaster event, and then gather corresponding supplies in a targeted manner according to its nature. Take note, this is critical. Second, after entering the game, as long as you lack the ability to protect yourselves in the early stages, treat every person you encounter with extreme caution, whether they are scavengers, rebels, drifters, or so-called survivors. Third, do your utmost to collect valuable items, for they may determine whether you can buy your life and keep breathing if you are captured by drifters. Fourth, find and build your own hideout as early as possible. A good hideout will allow you to safely weather the initial phase of the game. It is the key to surviving in the long term. Fifth, after descending into the Doomsday game, determine your surrounding environment as quickly as possible, city, grassland, wilderness, forest, or desert, and then follow your training protocols to carry out Doomsday survival. Sixth, the upgrade conditions for hideouts differ from region to region. Do not blindly copy the construction requirements used by survivors in other areas. Always follow the guidance provided by the Doomsday game itself. Outside a colossal bronze structure, 1,000 people stood packed together in a dark, heaving mass, listening to the endlessly looping instructions blaring from loudspeakers. Tang Yu frowned, deeply straining to memorize every word. I never thought I'd actually run into a Doomsday world. Having crossed over just one day ago, Tang Yu had already understood his situation. In this parallel version of Blue Star 3 years ago, as the sun revolved and shifted around the galactic center, the planet was caught by the Doomsday game. Disasters broke out across the world. Volcanoes, earthquakes, floods, extreme heat, viruses, and lethal cold. In only half a year, the population of Blue Star shrank by 80% and civilization was nearly shattered. At that point, the Doomsday game officially began. 100 bronze structures descended out of thin air onto Blue Star, and humanity built city bases around each of the 100 bronze edifices. Each city once a month could use its bronze structure to choose between 50 and 1,000 people to enter the Doomsday game and undertake survival challenges. After a city decided on its number of entrants, the bronze structure would randomly select the corresponding number of survivors from that city to be drawn into the game. While struggling through survival trials, they also had to face brutal combat against game entities and players from myriad races. Each time they endured a cyclical Doomsday catastrophe, survival supplies would be awarded based on how many people remained alive in each city base. These survival supplies became the very guarantee that each city base could continue to hold out. Tang Yu was among those randomly selected this month to enter the Doomsday game. Following the moving crowd, he soon entered the Great Bronze Hall and discovered that inside was actually a colossal teleportation gate. Before long, Tang Yu arrived at the gate, nervously rubbing his hands together as he stepped forward. It's a pity we can't bring anything inside. The thought had barely formed when his vision went black. When he opened his eyes again, he was already standing amid the ruins of a gigantic city. Broken down cars littered the streets, along with crumbling walls and shattered glass. Tang Yu could even see countless bullet holes pockmarking the walls. After a cautious glance around, he realized he was inside a convenience store, one that had clearly been looted. Looking around, he found only a single bottle of mineral water lying on the floor. Tang Yu hurriedly picked it up and stuffed it into the inner pocket of his jacket. From this moment on, every scrap of supplies he saw would be of critical importance. Just then, a game interface materialized before Tang Yu's eyes. Information about the Doomsday game appeared on the panel. At the most conspicuous spot, a line of text emerged: in 7 days, the impending disaster event will be a polar blizzard lasting 3 days. A blizzard, huh? That's going to be troublesome. The choice of hideout instantly became crucial. Ideally, it had to be some sort of underground structure. As Tang Yu pondered, he flipped to other pages. Hideout, backpack, chat. 3 options in total. The hideout option was grayed out, clearly indicating it would only activate once he chose a hideout. When he opened the backpack option, several smaller tabs unfolded. Items, health, skills, crafting. At the moment, there were only 5 item slots available. Tang Yu placed the bottle of mineral water inside, only to discover that a single bottle occupied 2 item slots. Clearly, the space each item occupied depended on its size, making the selection of loot extremely important. He could also equip backpacks to increase the number of available item slots. Under health, he saw indicators for body temperature, satiety, hydration, hit points, and stamina. Skills and crafting, however, both registered as 0. Studying the information on the panel, he muttered, "So my attributes have been gamified, have they?" He then opened the chat page where several new options appeared. Friends, Regional Chat, World Channel. The Friends section was currently empty. He then opened the World Channel, and lines of chat messages began to scroll into view. "Damn it, why did I spawn out on a barren grassland where not even birds bother to poop? Did you see the disaster info for 7 days from now? A polar blizzard. This is going to be rough. Somebody help me. I'm in the city, and the drifters have spotted me. They're hunting me down. Damn, I've run into drifters too. Everyone be careful. Guess what I just found? A rebel force holed up in a military base along the coastline. If only I could infiltrate it. What kind of world is this exactly?" Reading the chatter in the World Channel, Tang Yu's brows knitted together. He quickly noticed a tiny speaker icon beside World Channel with the number 1 next to it. When he focused his attention on it, an explanation popped up. A line of text appeared. The player currently has 1 World Channel message available per day. He was allowed to speak only once a day in the World Channel. That meant he would have to be extremely careful with whatever he chose to say. The same restriction applied within regional. Most people were just talking about trivial matters, and the only real difference from the World Channel was that there was no limit on how much they could chat. However, Tang Yu soon noticed a small figure icon at the upper right of the regional chat window, followed by the number 1000. That should be the number of survivors currently in this region. Tang Yu tried tapping on someone's avatar, and 3 options appeared. Private chat trade block, simple and straightforward. After familiarizing himself with the interface, Tang Yu glanced at the time. It was already 4 in the afternoon. Nightfall was not far off. The most urgent task now was securing a hideout. Just then a brand new prompt echoed inside Tang Yu's mind. Doomsday game detected. Super Tycoon test version plugin initialization complete. Bind now. Tang Yu was momentarily speechless. Bind. As Tang Yu's voice faded, the system announcement rang out. Doomsday game Super Monopoly beta plugin successfully bound. You will receive 1 dice roll per day. Current rolls 1. Note this is a beta version. After the survivor survives the first round of the apocalypse disaster, it will upgrade to the official version. Then a dice as large as a fist appeared before Tang Yu along with a Super Monopoly game map. The map looked like a miniature version of a city with various squares and events already generated. A miniature Tang Yu shrunk countless times stood at the starting point, which was labeled convenience store. Clearly, just like in the Super Monopoly game, once he rolled the dice, he would advance the corresponding number of squares and receive rewards. As Tang Yu's mind turned, the dice in the void began to bounce, and then a number appeared before him. Suddenly, the mini Tang Yu in the Super Monopoly map jumped forward 3 spaces and appeared in front of a station icon. Do you want to spend 250 points to purchase the subway garden station? Tang Yu then realized that just like in the game, there was a starting fund section on the Super Monopoly interface, and it currently displayed a value of 500. So I have 500 points now. Tang Yu looked at the changes on the interface, not fully understanding the meaning of the station, but he knew this was an investment game, and generally purchases would yield returns. He decisively confirmed. Purchase the station. At the same time, an extremely complex 3D virtual map of the subway station appeared in Tang Yu's mind, showing various rooms and item locations. Tang Yu was taken aback at first, then a look of joy appeared on his face. This is the station's supply information. I've struck gold. His heart swelled with uncontrollable excitement. In this apocalyptic game, supplies were the most precious. Now Tang Yu could be said to be thoroughly familiar with all the information within the subway station. The supplies inside were as easy to obtain as reaching into his own pocket. Especially the 3D architectural map of the station in his mind, which updated in real time. He could even see a few moving green dots, sensing that there were several mice active in the subway station. Doesn't that mean? A thought involuntarily emerged in Tang Yu's mind. From now on, any enemy appearing at the station would be under his constant surveillance, making it almost a personal playground. Tang Yu immediately began to study the station's information, and an extremely concealed room came into his view. This place is simply the best hiding spot. Hidden, spacious, and inside were several glowing supplies. Without hesitation, Tang Yu cautiously exited the convenience store and headed towards the subway station. Fortunately, this subway station was not far from Tang Yu's starting point at the convenience store, only less than 200 meters away. After confirming there were no people on the street, he quickly ran towards the subway entrance. Along the way, he could still hear faint gunshots and explosions. Soon he arrived at the entrance of the subway station, garden station, and walked down the subway passage towards the sensed room. The lights in the subway passage flickered on and off, and chaos reigned with traces of destruction everywhere. However, the marble floor had little dust or stains. It was as if this city had only recently been civilized, yet at this moment, it had completely plunged into apocalypse. Finally, he twisted and turned down the passageway, arriving at a very concealed iron door. After confirming that there was no danger inside, Tang Yu opened the door and looked in. Cement steps appeared, extending downwards, narrow and cramped, with only a faint beam of light visible. Tang Yu steadied himself against the wall as he descended, and after turning a corner, he felt a switch nearby, and pressed it. The overhead lights turned on. Clearly due to the city's rebel forces, the city's electricity supply was still functioning relatively normally. The entire space suddenly became bright. This was clearly a subway station control room. The room was in an L shape containing a simple single bed and a monitoring wall with only one screen flickering with static, which was the source of the earlier faint light. Tang Yu summoned the game's hiding place page. Indeed, the hiding place page had already lit up. Do you want to choose this as your hiding place? Warning: once the hiding place is confirmed, it cannot be changed. Confirm. With Tang Yu's confirmation, the transformation of the game hiding place began. 1, 5, 18, 34, 100. Hiding place has been successfully selected. Information about the hiding place also appeared on Tang Yu's panel. Hiding place. Owner Tang Yu. Existing facilities: rest area, main door. Facilities available for construction: none. Area 82 square meters. The information was so scant that Tang Yu's gaze fell on the only 2 facilities in the room. Rest area. Effect: sleep for 8 hours. It restores 80 stamina, reduces hunger by 40 and reduces hydration by 30. Note: trust me, compared to sleeping on the floor, this will give you some psychological comfort. Next stage: rest area level 1. Upgrade requirements: 5,000 Doomsday coins. Blanket 1 matches 1. Upgrade time: 30 minutes. Current upgrade materials are insufficient, unable to upgrade. Hiding place security door. Effect: effectively prevents animal intrusion. Note: yes, its function is merely to block animals from entering. Next stage: hiding place security anti-theft door level 1. Upgrade requirements: 25,000 Doomsday coins. Anti-theft lock core 1 measuring tape 1. Upgrade time: 30 minutes. Current upgrade materials are insufficient, unable to upgrade. Below the hiding place page were names of other facilities that could be built. Ventilation duct, warehouse, water collector, kitchen. There were more than 10 facility projects, but without exception, all these facility icons were displayed in gray. It was clear that all were unable to be built due to insufficient construction materials. However, this made Tang Yu even more aware of the importance of materials in the apocalyptic game. The collection of supplies became even more crucial. Fortunately, his hiding place had been set up, and this configuration far exceeded that of other players. His gaze naturally fell on the monitoring station within the hiding place, which was the location of the few supplies in this hiding place. Tang Yu approached the monitoring station. 3 computers were completely blacked out, and a subway security uniform was draped over a chair. He picked up the security uniform and began to search, resulting in Tang Yu directly touching a hard object, causing his expression to momentarily freeze. Then an incredulous look appeared on his face as he hurriedly took the object in hand. It turned out to be a handgun along with a holster. The information about the handgun appeared before Tang Yu. Glock 17 handgun. Type: handgun. Occupies 2 slots. Effective range: 50 meters. Shooting mode: semi-automatic. Ammunition caliber: 919 millimeters. Magazine capacity: 17 rounds. Based on the brief training memories before entering the apocalyptic game, Tang Yu clumsily checked the firearm, ejected the magazine, and inspected the bullets. Not bad, a full magazine, with 17 bullets intact. He felt a slight relief inside. This gun was Tang Yu's only reliable weapon at the moment. Weapons are the most crucial survival tools in the apocalyptic survival game, especially in urban areas where the primary threats to players are the rogues and insurgents. If he could later eliminate isolated insurgents or rogues, he could loot their equipped weapons and protective gear. Only then would they possess some survival capital in this apocalyptic game. Tucking the Glock 17 handgun into its holster slung across his body, he continued to scavenge for supplies. From the clothing, he pulled out a small and 2 larger keys, a smile appearing on Tang Yu's face. It was a key. Key for apartment 15. Main door effect can open the main door of apartment 15. Key for apartment 15 room 807 effect. Key for room 807 in apartment 15. Key for locker 45 male effect can open locker 45 in the male changing room at the station. Keys are one of the most important resources in the urban area of the apocalyptic game. Only by possessing the corresponding keys can players access the respective rooms and obtain supplies inside. Of course, climbing through windows or breaking down doors can achieve the same result, but the noise from such actions would attract the rogues wandering in the city. In the early stages of the game, this would be tantamount to seeking one's own demise. He shoved the keys into his inventory. Tang Yu then found a flashlight and a chocolate bar in a drawer. All the supplies in this hiding place had been thoroughly scavenged. Glock 17 handgun 1 keys, 3 flashlight 1 chocolate 1 mineral water 1. This was all the supplies Tang Yu had gathered so far. Food, water, weapons, and shelter had all been secured. Tang Yu's resource acquisition on the first day of the apocalyptic game had gone quite smoothly. He arrived at the rest area, sat on a single bed, and opened the chocolate and mineral water to restore his hunger and hydration levels. He also opened the regional chat to check on the progress of others. Who was at the shopping center? Help the insurgent. Brothers, there are 5 or 6 rogues near the hotel in the district. Be careful. Where should I hide my shelter? I feel like nowhere is safe. Who can trade me a weapon? I'll exchange it for a key. There's a lone rogue I want a knife. The brother upstairs is so strong. Do I have an extra knife? I'll trade it. I can't believe what I just saw. If the rogue is actually driving an armored vehicle in the city. Everyone be careful. Just as he was browsing the chat, Tang Yu noticed that the number of survivors displayed in the upper right corner had dropped from the initial 1,000 to 983. He felt a jolt of surprise. It had been less than an hour since he left the convenience store, and already 17 people had died. The urgency of survival surged once again in Tang Yu's heart. No, it's still not time to rest. I must focus on improving my survival conditions. After finishing the chocolate, he put the remaining half bottle of water back into his inventory. After checking the safety of the handgun, Tang Yu exited the hideout and stealthily made his way toward the other rooms in the subway station. With the subway station map in his mind, he was aware that no one else was present in this station. Even so, he remained very cautious, walking through the station corridors with his weapon drawn. The entire station was eerily silent. According to the map, the areas with supplies in the station were mainly distributed in several locations. Staff lounge, changing room, station control room. The other areas, such as the electrical equipment room and communication equipment room, had little to no supplies. Thus Tang Yu headed straight for the staff changing room, which was actually located inside the staff lounge. Upon reaching the lounge, he gently pulled the door handle and let out a sigh of relief. Perhaps due to it being a public lounge, the door was not locked. After entering, he closed the door behind him. Inside the staff lounge was a chaotic scene with tables and chairs toppled over and shards of glass. There were obvious bloodstains on the floor, indicating that a battle had occurred in the lounge. He wasn't sure if the virtual map could really indicate the presence of enemies. Tang Yu carefully inspected every room in the area with his handgun drawn, ensuring there were no dangers. He then holstered the gun and began to scour the room for any possible supplies. First was the changing room. With the key for locker 45 in hand, Tang Yu went directly to locker 45. He smoothly opened the locker with the key. Inside was a backpack. He opened it to take a look. Marlboro cigarettes 1, encrypted USB drive 1, a energy drink 1. The backpack displayed that it could be equipped directly. Simple backpack capacity 20 slots. Movement speed reduced by 3. Turning speed reduced by 1. With the backpack slung over his back, the item slots in Tang Yu's inventory increased from 5 to 25. Tang Yu also discovered that when picking up items, he only needed to select collect for the items to automatically appear in the backpack, which was very convenient. With the backpack container, Tang Yu's scavenging speed for supplies noticeably increased. He checked all the open lockers in the changing room, and finally the staff lounge outside. In the end, Tang Yu only collected a box of matches, a screwdriver, a tape measure, 2 towels, and a blanket that had fallen on the floor. Though the haul was not much, Tang Yu felt quite good because he had managed to gather both items needed to upgrade the hideout. The 2 items needed to upgrade the hideout door also included the tape measure, leaving only 1 anti-theft lock core. Now only the so-called apocalypse currency is left, Tang Yu thought to himself. Just as he was preparing to head to the station control room to continue scavenging for supplies, his expression suddenly changed. He quickly drew his handgun, disengaged the safety chambered around, and pressed his back against the wall by the staff lounge door, holding his breath. On the virtual map, 2 red dots appeared at the entrance of the subway station, moving toward the inside of the station. 3 full minutes passed, and faint sounds filtered in from outside the lounge. I didn't expect to have killed a survivor today, but unfortunately, he was just a poor wretch with nothing on him. Indeed, but that guy Black Dog said that in a few days the Great Face would organize a sacrificial ceremony. If I had known, I would have kept that survivor for the sacrifice. Haha, what a shame. Otherwise the Great Face would definitely reward us. Tang Yu quietly listened to the conversation of the 2 outside. When he heard the term sacrificial ceremony, his heart stirred. These 2 guys were actually rogues, and they were likely followers of the evil god. The Vagrants are the largest group in the Apocalypse game, comprising a highly complex mix of individuals, including scavengers, criminals, thugs, and cultists of the Dark Gods. Undoubtedly, the cultists of the Dark Gods are the rarest among the Vagrants. They seek to communicate with the so-called divine beings through regular human sacrifices, thereby gaining power. Although the cultists of the Dark Gods are the least numerous among the Vagrants, their fanaticism and aggressiveness are the strongest. Some of these special followers possess bizarre abilities. Players discovered by the cultists of the Dark Gods rarely survive. At this moment, Tang Yu's breathing had nearly come to a halt, though his heartbeat was gradually quickening. Glimpsing the Glock 17 handgun in his hand, Tang Yu made a bold decision. The bigger the storm, the more valuable the fish. The cultists of the Dark Gods are indeed dangerous beings. Their threat level is a nightmare for newcomers. However, if one can miraculously kill them, the rewards are immense. According to the training materials provided before entering the game, killing the cultists of the Dark Gods carries a certain chance of looting rare materials and weapons from them, which would greatly aid newcomers in surviving the first wave of apocalypse disasters. At this moment, the voices of the cultists of the Dark Gods outside the door were drawing nearer, and Tang Ye's attention was fully focused on the 3D model map of the station in his mind. The two red dots representing the cultists of the Dark Gods were getting closer to the employee lounge, where Tang Yu was located. He had already confirmed that there were no other enemies in the entire station except for these two cultists. The footsteps of the cultists of the Dark Gods could now be heard outside the door. Tang Yu was less than 2 meters away from them, separated by a wall. Alright, let's rest here for a bit, but we still have to participate in tonight's event. One of the cultists of the Dark Gods spoke as he opened the door to the employee lounge and walked in. However, as soon as he entered, he saw a shadow appear in the corner of the wall, and his long-standing combat instincts made him instinctively shout. Bang! 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 Continuous gunfire erupted, bullets striking the chest. Tang Yu noticed immediately that both of them were wearing bulletproof vests. His heart sank. Besides the first 2 shots, the remaining bullets were all aimed at the head of the 2 cultists. Only after emptying the magazine, with the gun's firing pin clicking on emptiness, did Tang Yu gasp for air, realizing how perilous the situation had been. The cultist of the Dark Gods fell into a pool of blood, his expression one of disbelief. Alongside him fell his companion. Although the companion had raised his gun at the first sound of gunfire, he was still shot in a vital area by Tang Yu and was killed without any resistance. With no time to think further, uncertain if the gunfire would attract new enemies, Tang Yu quickly dragged the bodies into the employee lounge and closed the door. Holding the firearms dropped by the enemy, his focus shifted back to the virtual map. After observing carefully for 2 minutes and confirming that no new enemies had appeared, he looked at the corpse of the cultist of the Dark Gods with a broad smile. At that moment, Tang Yu realized that these 2 guys were not cultists of the Dark Gods at all, but merely ordinary vagrants. The most distinctive mark of the cultists of the Dark Gods is that they all have the divine emblem tattooed on their necks, which was clearly absent on these 2. However, looking at the gear on the 2, he was still overjoyed. Haha, I've struck it rich. Tang Yu immediately began to strip the weapons and equipment off of them. 1 PM submachine gun, including magazine, 130 rounds of 918mm ammunition, and 2 PM 30 rounds standard magazines, 60 rounds of 918mm ammunition. 1 AKS-74U short assault rifle, including magazine, 130 rounds of 4,539mm ammunition. 1 AK-74 compatible magazine, 30 rounds of 4,539mm ammunition, and 2 PL-15 handguns, each with magazine, 116 rounds of 919 ammunition. 5 F-1 defensive fragmentation grenades, 1 Damascus dagger, 1 6H, 5 bayonet, 1 terrorist, hood, 1 half mask, 2 Pakasoft bulletproof, vest level 2, 1 Malawian kwacha, chest rig, 1 SW micro chest rig, 6 sterile bandages, 1 gold star ointment, 2 beef sausages, 1 bottled beer, and 3 Doomsday coins. Looking at the heaps of spoils spread all over the ground, Tang Yu felt a bit dizzy. I can't believe it, I've really hit the jackpot. But now wasn't the time for Tang Yu to marvel. He had to take these spoils back to his hideout to examine the equipment properties. He stuffed everything that could fit into his backpack into the compartments. Tang Yu then realized that the 2 tactical vests could also increase the number of backpack compartments, but each person could only equip 1 tactical vest. He directly equipped the tactical vest that had 16 compartments, increasing his backpack space from 25 to 41 compartments. Finally, he tidied up the scene a bit, slinging the 2 long guns over his shoulder and holding those 2 bulletproof vests. Tang Yu then ran towards his hideout. All along the way, he felt as if he had struck gold, overwhelmed with joy and excitement. Indeed, the greater the risk, the greater the reward. My ancestors, do not deceive me. Soon Tang Yu returned to his hideout. After tightly closing the door behind him, he collapsed to the ground, gasping for breath. With long guns and bulletproof vests carrying dozens of pounds of equipment, while running, Tang Yu felt utterly exhausted. Yet he couldn't suppress the smile on his face. This could be considered his first pot of gold. Half an hour later, Tang Yu had organized all the spoils. However, he was particularly interested in the Doomsday coins and immediately took out the 3 Doomsday coins to examine closely. The Doomsday coins resembled paper currency, each bill valued at 1000. Now that the upgrade requirements for the rest area have been met, I can upgrade it. It will be done in half an hour. Tang Yu thought, taking the match and blanket along with the Doomsday coins to the single bed. The upgrade information for the rest area had indeed changed. Rest area affects sleep for 8 hours, it restore 80 stamina, reduce hunger by 40, and reduce hydration by 30. Note, trust me, compared to sleeping on the ground, this can provide you with a bit of psychological comfort. Next stage, rest area level 1. Upgrade requirements, 5000 Doomsday coins, 1 blanket, 1 match. Upgrade time, 30 minutes. The upgrade materials meet the conditions. Do you wish to upgrade? What is there to hesitate about? Yes, with Tang Yes confirmation of the upgrade, the single bed along with the match blanket and 5 Doomsday coins placed on the bed were enveloped in a layer of soft light. Taking advantage of the break during the area upgrade, Tang Yu opened the regional chat. Now that I have an extra pistol and a bulletproof vest, keeping them is of no use. Why not see if I can trade them for something useful? At this moment the regional chat was quite lively. Tang Yu noticed that the current number of players in this area had decreased to 968. Perhaps due to the number of deaths, there were messages all around from players seeking weapons and armor. 5 packs of instant noodles looking to trade for a weapon. A melee weapon would suffice. Exchange for a firearm, can trade with 2 keys. Contact if interested. Brothers who has healing items, please sponsor him. About to bleed out. Grateful. Currently have a crowbar. Image trading for a key to an abandoned factory. Contact if available. Who has food and water? I'm in dire straits. My hunger and thirst levels have dropped to 0 and am about to lose health. Help. Tang Yu quickly locked onto one of the messages and contacted the sender. Tang Yu, where are your 2 keys from? Wang Boha, brother, do you have firearms? This key is for apartment 15 and the entrance to the Red Romance Club. Don't worry, it hasn't been used. Image. Tang Yu felt a surge of joy. He actually had the key to apartment 15 as well. How coincidental. Tang Yu, I have a pistol. Image, but just 2 keys won't suffice. Wang Boha, wow, a big shot. In just one afternoon, where did you get the pistol, especially one with a full magazine? Shocked expression. Wang Boha, big shot. This indeed isn't enough, but besides the 2 keys, I only have some food and drink left. How about I add a message to trade with you? Tang Yu, what message? You're not trying to scam me, are you? Wang Boha, no, this message is confidential. Oh, only a few know it in the real world, and I found out by accident. So how about the trade? Tang Yu, since this message is so precious, are you just going to trade it directly with me? Wang Boha, big shot, don't joke around. Right now the value of a firearm surpasses all resources. Moreover, this information will become common knowledge after surviving the first round of disasters in the Doomsday game. It's no problem to tell you now, but at least not many know it at this stage. Upon reading Wang Bohu's words, Tang Yes brow furrowed. There was indeed hidden information, and Wang Bohu didn't seem to be lying. Tang Yu, alright, then it's 2 keys plus that message you mentioned. I hope you won't deceive me. Wang Bohu, ha ha, don't worry, big shot, it will definitely be worth it for you. Tang Yu immediately traded 1 pistol and 1 magazine of bullets, while Wang Bohu traded over the keys to apartment 15 in the Red Romance Club. At the same time, Wang Bohu's message also came through. Wang Bohu, big shot, this message is that if you can make sure to gather graphics cards and advance this electronic component. After surviving the first round of Doomsday disasters, our version of the Doomsday game will merge with the old player's version. At that time, graphics cards will be very important as they are crucial for obtaining disaster coins. Disaster coins are the rare trading currency in the Doomsday world. Graphics card disaster coin. 2 new item names appeared before Tang Yu, but he wondered what use they would have. What caught Tang Yu's attention the most was the merging with the old player's version. Tang Yu, are you saying that the area we are in right now only has novice players? Wang Bohu, that's right, big shot. Before the first disaster is over, the entire world only has us novice players, and the game difficulty is only at the beginner level. Only after surviving the first round of disasters will our world merge with the old player's version, at which point the game difficulty will significantly increase, and the players from various races will formally interact with us. After receiving Wang Bohu's confirmation, Tang Yu immediately understood. It meant that the world they were currently in was a new game area, while the old players were in the main area. Only after surviving the first round of disasters would the new area merge into the main area, engaging in a true Doomsday game, with all old players and various race players. Just thinking about it, one could tell that the survival difficulty would undoubtedly rise exponentially. Not only would the survival environment become harsher, but they would also face higher-level players equipped with better gear from various races. Tang Yu's gaze fell on the monitoring station of the nearby subway station. He had to seize every opportunity. Tang Yu felt grateful for choosing to trade for this information with Wang Bohu, as it gave him a clearer understanding of his future survival situation. Thinking of this, Tang Yu went directly to the monitoring station and began to open up the 3 computer cases. It was evident that these cases had suffered some unknown damage, so only a few damaged electronic components remained usable. CPU fan X1, memory stick X1, power unit X1, power cable X1. The haul could be described as minimal, basically nothing special. However, Tang Yu still collected all the items. Although he didn't obtain a graphics card, he discovered a new method for acquiring resources: opening computer cases. The resources obtained from opening cases were mostly electronic components, which would surely be useful in future survival. Tang Yu glanced at the door of his hiding place, thought for a moment, and then posted 2 messages on the area channel. 1 Damascus dagger image trading for 1 anti-theft lock core, plus any key those in need, 1 level 2 bulletproof vest image trading for upgrade materials for the hiding place those in need, Players who saw Tang Yu's message in the chat were all stunned. Another player is trading melee weapons. Why are there so many big shots acquiring weapons? This big shot isn't thinking of directly upgrading the door to his hiding place, right? Look closely, this big shot is not only trading melee weapons, but also a level 2 bulletproof vest. Did this big shot kill a refugee right after entering the game? The emergence of a big shot is their strategy for acquiring weapons. Seeking to share? It's because refugees are an invincible presence for players at this stage. Most of those who died in the afternoon were killed by refugees, so the astonishment of other survivors is understandable. Big shot, please take me with you, and don't you lack accessories? Tang Yu, big shot, I don't have an anti-theft lock core, can I offer food instead? Can I trade 3 packs of instant noodles? Messages privately chatting with Tang Yu flooded in an instant, but most were offers to trade food or other resources for weapons, to which Tang Yu paid no mind. Some private messages offering items made Tang Yu quite tempted, but in order to upgrade the door to his hiding place, he continued to wait. Hello, can I trade 1 anti-theft lock core plus a tactical scope image with you? My tactical scope. Tang Yu's body straightened up, and he opened the image to take a look. DP Reflex Compact Sight. Effect increases aiming precision, long range, shooting accuracy 25. Magnification 1x. Applicable weapon, submachine guns, assault rifles. Looking at the tactical sight data sent by the other party, Tang Yu felt a surge of joy. This sight could be perfectly used on the 2 weapons he currently possessed. Tang Yu immediately contacted the player to complete the trade. 1 Damascus dagger was exchanged for 1 theft-proof lock cylinder and 1 tactical sight. Then, holding the theft-proof lock cylinder and tape measure, he arrived at the door of the safe house. Safe house security gate. Effect effectively blocks animal invasion. Note that's right, its only function is to prevent animals from entering. Next stage, safe house security anti-theft door level 1. Upgrade requirements: 2500 Doom coins, theft-proof lock cylinder 1, tape measure 1. Upgrade time 30 minutes. Upgrade materials meet requirements. Proceed with upgrade. Yes. The safe house door immediately entered the upgrade state, and all of Tang Yu's Doom coins were spent. At this moment, the rest area had just finished upgrading. The originally very thin mattress of the single bed had turned into a thick blanket, and the iron frame had become a wooden structure. Rest area level 1. Effect: sleep for 6 hours, stamina recovery 80, satiety value 30, hydration value 20, provides some warmth 10, chance to remove negative effects. Note it's okay, at least you can sleep now. Next stage, cozy rest area level 2. Upgrade requirements: ventilation duct level 1, 0 Doom coins, energy saving bulb 1, power battery 1. Upgrade time 1 hour. Current upgrade materials insufficient, cannot upgrade. Tang Yu also noticed that a crafting button option had appeared at the bottom of the rest area page. He clicked to open it, and several crafting lists appeared before him. They were: single blanket crafting requirements, wool 10, twine 2. Single quilt crafting requirements, cotton 15, a needle and thread 1. Single mattress crafting requirements, palm fiber 3, rubber 1. Pillow crafting requirements, cotton 2, polyester 2. A full set of bedding all in 1. Unfortunately, Tang Yu had no energy left to trade these materials. He lay directly on the now thick single bed and fell into deep sleep. Today was the first day of entering the Doomsday game, and Tang Yu's experience was quite thrilling, but his energy was also greatly depleted. He was exhausted. When Tang Yu woke again, it was already early morning of the next day, and he was awakened by the urge to urinate. After quickly taking care of that, he was fully awake and began to plan today's actions. As the first step in deciding today's actions, Tang Yu directly opened the panel and looked at the Super Monopoly plugin. Sure enough, as Tang Yu's mind turned, the virtual map of Super Monopoly appeared again, and the dice rolling count reset to 1. Roll the dice. Tang Yu rubbed his hands. May heavens bless me. Yes. As Tang Yu confirmed, the dice jumped rapidly in the void, then slowly stopped, revealing today's number. Today is 4 o'clock, and on that virtual map, the mini Tang Yu begins to pulse. 1, 2, 3, 4. The position where the mini Tang Yu stops shows a pattern of red light on the virtual map. Do you want to spend 150 points to purchase the Red Romance Club? A mechanical prompt sounds in Tang Yu's ears. The Red Romance Club. Tang Yu's spirit lifted. That name sounded so familiar. He then opened his backpack space and looked at the few keys he had. Now Tang Yu had a total of 5 keys. They are the key to apartment 15, the key to room 715 of apartment 15, the key to room 807 of apartment 15, the key to locker 45 in the subway station changing room, and the key to the Red Romance Club. Damn, this is it. Tang Ran took out the metal key that could open the door to the Red Romance Club and compared it back and forth with the page of Super Monopoly. Indeed, it is the Red Romance Club. Tang Yu immediately chose yes. With his confirmation, a new 3D map appeared in Tang Yu's mind, which was the virtual map of the Red Romance Club. A smile involuntarily appeared on Tang Yu's lips. Luck is truly unstoppable. What was originally just a key that happened to be acquired in a trade unexpectedly found its use today. So today's exploration destination was determined. However, there are still a few things that need to be completed. The first thing is that Tang Yu looked at the Super Monopoly panel interface, his brow slightly raised. Because the wealth points displayed above actually showed 153 points, which was completely wrong. Yesterday, the starting points for Monopoly were 500 points, 250 points were used to purchase the station, and today 150 points were spent to buy the Red Romance Club, so there should only be 100 points left. So where did these extra 53 points come from? Tang Yu directly checked the system records and suddenly realized that he completely forgot that purchasing assets would yield investment returns. At 5 o'clock in the morning, Super Monopoly refreshed, and the system prompt appeared at that time, but Tang Yu was in deep sleep, so he completely missed it. On the second day of the Apocalypse Games Super Monopoly Investment Return Summary with one investment, Subway Garden Station, with a return of 53 points on that day. Tang Yu's gaze involuntarily turned towards the Red Romance Club. If calculated this way, as long as there is one property, the wealth points for the next day would increase. Now that Tang Yu already has 2 properties, wouldn't he have double the joy by tomorrow? This is completely a pleasant surprise. A new day begins and Tang Yu is very happy with this unexpected gain. He then checks other tasks. The security door of the hideout has also been upgraded. Hideout Security Anti-Theft Door Level 1. Effect made of thick steel and a precision lock. This door can resist the invasion of ordinary biological beings. Note: upgrading the security door is your first step in the apocalypse. Next stage: Hideout Security Alloy Door Level 2. Upgrade requirements: Ventilation Duct Level 1, Bathroom Level 1, Apocalypse Currency 500, Alloy Steel 2, Glass 1, Foam Glue 1. Upgrade time 1 hour. Current upgrade materials are insufficient and cannot be upgraded. Very good. It seems there is no need to consider upgrade requirements for the time being. The successful upgrade of the security door allowed Tang Yu's tense nerves to relax slightly, and a key for the hideout's anti-theft door appeared in his backpack. Moreover, the transaction information he posted last night for the Level 2 bulletproof vest had dozens of survivors sending their bids to Tang Yu. In the end, Tang Yu chose one survivor to complete the transaction, and the items he received were energy batteries X2 and foam glue X1. All of these are upgrade materials that Tang Yu can use for the hideout. After handling the hideout matters, Tang Yu had a simple meal to replenish the energy lost from a night's rest. Then he organized his equipment and prepared to head to the Red Romance Club for exploration and to scavenge resources there. His equipment was quite luxurious, which would definitely astonish other players. Main weapon: PM submachine gun, 3 magazines, 90 rounds of ammunition equipped with tactical sights. Secondary weapon: PL-15 pistol, contains 16 rounds of ammunition. Melee weapon: 6H5 bayonet. Throwing weapon: 5F1 defensive fragmentation grenades. Vest Level 2 bulletproof vest. Backpack: 20 slots of double-shoulder backpack, 16 slots for ammunition. Medical supplies: 6 sterile bandages, 1 golden star ointment. Looking at his fully armed equipment, Tang Yu was very satisfied. Tang Yu walked through the pitch-black subway tunnel with a flashlight, heading towards the direction of Hong Romance. In terms of distance, Hong Romance was not far from Huayuan subway station, about 500 to 600 meters away. However, considering the presence of refugees and rebels above ground, Tang Yu believed that taking the subway tunnel to the area near Hong Romance was the safest option. Due to the weight of his gear, it took Tang Yu a full 15 minutes to arrive at the vicinity of Hong Romance, specifically at the Hao Wang Jiao subway station. This area was already beyond the reach of the subway station he had purchased, thus the virtual map had become ineffective. He turned off his flashlight and cautiously hid in the shadows of the tunnel, waiting for 2 full minutes. After confirming he hadn't heard any suspicious sounds, Tang Yu climbed up onto the subway platform and walked toward the subway entrance. The subway station did not attract many refugees, allowing Tang Yu to reach the subway entrance smoothly. He could also see the location of Hong Romance. It was located on a street diagonally across from the subway entrance. However, just as Tang Yu was about to cross the road, a series of continuous gunshots rang out from a nearby building, accompanied by 2 piercing screams. Tang Yu was startled and quickly opened the regional chat panel. Indeed, the number of survivors listed had decreased by 2. Without a doubt, players had been discovered by the refugees. What troubled Tang Yu the most was that at least 3 gunshots had sounded, indicating the presence of at least 3 enemies, which posed a hellish challenge for him. I can't just wait here to die. Oh, I must find a way to enter Hong Romance if I want to survive, Tang Yu thought to himself. He was now mere steps away from Hong Romance, and if he gave up now, his progress and strength would be severely hindered, making his chances of surviving the disaster event 6 days later uncertain. Thus, to survive, he had to enter Hong Romance, where he could leverage the advantages of the virtual map to gain the maximum. After making his decision, Tang Yu no longer hesitated. Confirming that there was no one on the street, he quickly dashed across the road. No one sees me. No one sees me. Whoever shoots me is a dog, he muttered to himself while running. The short distance of 30 to 40 meters felt excruciatingly long to Tang Yu. Finally, as he crossed the road and rushed toward the entrance of Hong Romance, he gasped for breath, feeling that this part of the journey had been nerve-wracking. But he had made it. Hong Romance was now less than 20 meters away from him. Just as he relaxed, a series of gunshots rang out and bullets struck the wall beside him, leaving several bullet holes. Damn it! He had been discovered. Tang Yes's eyes widened, but he reacted quickly. He turned and ran toward Hong Romance, having already heard the chaotic footsteps around the street corner. The refugees were chasing him. Hurry, there's another survivor. Don't kill him this time. Hey, let's have some fun. Right, maybe we can sell him to the ghost faces. They seem to be looking for live ones. Catch this kid, but be careful. Oh, I think I saw he has a gun. Everyone be cautious. As Tang Yu heard the shouts from behind, he had already reached the entrance of Hong Romance. The door to Hong Romance was a luxurious brass metal door with a keyhole prominently displayed. He summoned his backpack space and retrieved the pre-prepared Hong Romance door key. Inserting and turning the key, the door opened. Just as Tang Yu pulled the door wide and stepped out, the refugees appeared around the corner. Upon seeing the half-open metal door of Hong Romance, they immediately raised their guns and started shooting, with bullets striking the metal door and creating a cacophony of noise. Tang Yu hurriedly entered the room, then swiftly closed the door behind him, running into the interior of the club without looking back. The moment he entered, he immediately checked the virtual map of Hong Romance in his mind. While running and checking, he confirmed that there were no enemies inside the club. He hid in the innermost room on the first floor, cocked his gun, and prepared for the worst. After several deep breaths, his rapid breathing slowed slightly. At this moment, he could hear the voices of the refugees talking outside the door. Bang bang. After 2 gunshots, the door to Hong Romance was violently smashed open and the refugees walked inside. 4 red dots appeared on the virtual map. The interior of Hong Romance was dimly lit, with only the red LED lights on the ceiling casting a neon-like glow, making the already dark room even harder to discern. Listening to the sound of refugees smashing items, Tang Yu remained silent, waiting for the right moment. He knew his weakness. He wasn't skilled with firearms, so he could only have a chance of winning through close-range ambush. If he were to face the refugees in a gunfight, it would be difficult to win. The refugees were evidently well aware of the survivors, as they split into 2 teams. 2 people in a group provided mutual cover as they advanced, showing that although they had been quite arrogant earlier, they were extremely cautious when actually facing a potentially threatening enemy. Watching as one group searched the first floor while the other headed upstairs, Tang Yes's eyes lit up slightly. The enemies were splitting up to search for him, presenting him with an opportunity. Tang Yu was currently in the innermost room on the first floor of Hong Romance, which was a private room. The dim lighting made his figure even more concealed. The 2 refugees searching the first floor had arrived at the corner of the hallway. Once they turned this corner, the second room would be where Tang Yu was located. Looking at the positions of the 2 refugees on the virtual map, Tang Yu carefully took out an oval object, F1 defensive grenade type, throwing weapon, occupied slots, 1 explosion delay 3.5 seconds, explosion radius 37 meters, concussion radius 12 meters, shrapnel count 90 F1 shrapnel pieces. It is known that grenades are divided into offensive and defensive types. The killing power of a defensive grenade primarily relies on the shrapnel produced during the explosion. Thus, its lethality is immense, and the purpose of a defensive grenade is singular: to eliminate all enemies. If this grenade were to explode in this hallway, the refugees would suffer maximum damage. Pulling the pin, Tang Yu silently counted to 1 before suddenly throwing it at the feet of the 2 refugees who had just turned the corner. He then quickly closed the door, silently shouting in his heart, "Let it blow." And just as the door closed, a violent explosion erupted. Boom! 2 vagrants were searching on the first floor, one behind the other, when they turned the corner of the hallway and saw a round object rolling at their feet. They paused for a moment in surprise, but their muscle memory from long battles in the city prompted them to dive to the side instinctively. Grenade! But by the time they reacted, it was already too late. Their attempts to evade were futile against the grenade that was so close. As the human bodies were still airborne, the F1 grenade exploded, showering the 2 vagrants with dozens, if not hundreds, of shrapnel. The tremendous force of the explosion sent both men flying, and when they landed, they were left as mere remnants, lifeless and beyond recovery. The violent blast left Tang Yu, who was hiding in the room, shaken and terrified. The walls of the room cracked open, revealing the gypsum board inside, and the connection to the adjacent room was blasted into a gaping hole, throwing him to the ground. Countless dust and debris fell upon Tang Yu, leaving him covered in grime. Cough, cough. He struggled to rise from the ground, spitting out the dirt from his mouth. He gently shook his dazed head, still hearing a slight ringing in his ears. Damn it, shoddy construction, almost got. However, once he stood up, his expression turned serious, and without a second thought, he hurriedly ran in the opposite direction down the hallway. The virtual map indicated that the other 2 vagrants who had originally made it to the 3rd floor were now swiftly making their way down to the 1st floor after hearing the explosion. As Tang Yu passed the corner where he had just been, he saw 2 bodies sprawled in a pool of blood. Although he was tempted by the loot on them, he had no time to spare. The 1st floor corridor of Hong Langman formed its shape. One side led to the room where Tang Yu had hidden, while the other side led to the kitchen of the clubhouse. After arriving at the kitchen and securely closing the fire door, the other two vagrants also reached the first floor. The sound of gunfire echoed with 3 shots. The sudden explosion had instilled fear in the remaining two. They called out the names of their companions, but after receiving no response, they understood that they were likely not dealing with ordinary survivors, but rather a seasoned hunter. At this moment, the two had reached the corner of the hallway and naturally spotted the bodies of their fallen companions. Yet they only glanced at them briefly before shifting their focus. In the world of vagrants, death could come at any time. One of them quickly checked the nearby rooms, finding no suspicious targets, and their gazes turned towards the kitchen at the other end of the corridor. Exchanging a glance, the two cautiously raised their guns and approached the kitchen fire door. Their positioning was meticulous. The fire door had 2 circular glass windows, so they pressed against the wall, advancing slowly while aiming their guns at the windows. As soon as anyone showed their head at the window, they would be shot down immediately. But until they reached the door, nothing unexpected occurred, and they exchanged gestures of cooperation after confirming no one was at the entrance. With a kick, they burst through the fire door, simultaneously tossing grenades to either side of the door. Boom! As the 2 explosions sounded, the vagrants rushed into the kitchen, firing at any spots where someone could hide. After checking all the rooms, they found no one present. Just as they thought the survivors weren't here, a dull sound echoed. Their eyes turned towards the source of the noise, which came from the kitchen cold storage. The 2 exchanged smiles. This survivor was interesting. They had thought to hide in the cold storage. A smirk appeared on their faces. They quietly approached the cold storage door. One of them held 2 grenades, nodding with amusement, while the other reached for the handle to open the large door. Once the cold storage was open, the other would throw the grenades inside, blowing the survivor to bits. They had already begun to imagine the scene that would unfold. Unbeknownst to them, a few meters behind, a door of a freezer pressed against the wall quietly opened, and a dark muzzle was aimed at their backs. Just as the cold storage door swung open and the grenades were thrown, the PM submachine gun unleashed a torrent of furious flames. Da-da-da-da. With a firing rate of over 600,750 rounds per minute, in just 3 seconds a 30-round magazine was completely emptied. The 2 vagrants had been shot to pieces, their bodies collapsing to the ground, their faces still bearing expressions of boom, boom. At this moment, 2 dull explosions echoed from the cold storage, and the freezer door swung open. Tang Yu forcefully crawled out of the freezer, reloaded his magazine, and fired 2 shots into the heads of the 2 men before finally exhaling a long sigh of relief. Now the entire Hong Langman had no enemies left, but the earlier explosions and gunfire were likely to attract nearby vagrants or rebels. Tang Yu had to quickly scavenge for supplies and leave. He stripped the gear off the 2 men and placed grenades and other items into his backpack. He hid the firearms and bulletproof vests in a freezer. After handling the 2 individuals he had blasted, half an hour had already passed. During this half hour, Tang Yu remained vigilant, constantly checking the virtual map for new enemies. However, not a single enemy appeared until he finished collecting all 4 sets of gear. As he sighed in relief, he also continued to stay alert. Being the 6th player ambushing vagrants, he could not guarantee that other players wouldn't ambush him. After all, at least 3 players had obtained firearms by the time he left in the morning. It was normal to eliminate rivals for resources. Then a look of excitement appeared on Tang Yu's face. He had only just arrived and had already collected the gear of 4 vagrants. The haul was extraordinary, and due to the destruction of the first floor rooms, Tang Yu headed straight for the 2nd floor. The Hong Layman clubhouse had 3 levels. Clearly this place had been a somewhat hidden rendezvous spot before the apocalypse, frequented by wealthy individuals. After quickly scavenging 2 rooms, he found 150 in Doff World coins on the sofa and coffee table, along with 2 valuable items, a guitar pick. Tang Yu began his blissful scavenging of supplies. A golden necklace, a fine item collected. A doll, surprisingly, a valuable item collected. Ibuprofen painkillers, good supplies collected. Energy-saving light bulbs, upgrade supplies for the rest area collected. Tang Yu rummaged through room after room, leaving a clean path behind him like a locust invasion. Just as he exited the last room on the 2nd floor, he keenly heard a faint sound of footsteps. The sound was just outside the room down below. Tang Yu's spirit immediately tightened. Rustling, rustling. Faint footsteps echoed once more, and at that moment Tang Yu was utterly certain. Downstairs outside the window, someone was stealthily walking, seemingly aware that Tang Yu was nearby on the 2nd floor. Every step taken was cautious and deliberate. Had he not been positioned right at the edge of the 2nd floor window, he would not have heard it. At this moment, Tang Yu had completely entered a state of silence as the person outside gave off an eerily strange vibe. It felt as though they were engaged in a game of strategy. Amidst the passage of time, Tang Yu finally spotted a crimson dot on the virtual map, in his mind, a light that was so darkly red it seemed almost black. Tang Yu's eyes widened involuntarily, revealing an expression of disbelief. What is this thing coming? This was the first time he had encountered such a color of light. A red dot already indicated an enemy. What could this dark red dot represent? Infinite hostility? Or perhaps evil? Everything remained unknown. All Tang Yu knew was that the mysterious figure had arrived at the corner of the second floor. His gun was firmly aimed at the corner. The moment the enemy showed their face, they would be greeted by a hail of bullets. But just as the figure was about to step around the corner, they suddenly stopped. The second floor of the Crimson Romance fell into silence. What's going on? Does he know I'm aiming at him right now? Such doubts emerged in Tang Ye's mind. But no one provided him with an answer. This was not a way to proceed. Tang Yu kicked the prepared grenade on the ground with his right foot. The sound of the grenade's pin rattling echoed, giving the impression that Tang Yu was ready to throw it. At the very moment the grenade made a sound, the figure hiding around the corner suddenly moved. After executing a tactical roll to the ground, they raised their gun, aiming at Tang Ye's position. Bang 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 bang. A storm of bullets continuously struck the ground, creating craters of varying depths. Accompanying this were the dull sounds emitted when bullets pierced through flesh. Soon the entire magazine was emptied. Only then did Tang Yu stand up, a hint of mockery curling his lips. He reloaded the grenade into his gear. I knew you were waiting for me to handle the grenade before you shot at me. He approached the mysterious figure, now resembling a sieve. Turning on his flashlight to inspect Tang Ye's gaze sharpened as he yanked down the mysterious person's collar. A mysterious symbol appeared on the figure's neck. This is a tattoo. Tang Yu looked at the corpse with a complex expression. This was actually a follower of the evil god. Unlike the two vagrants from last night, this was a genuine follower of the evil god. But in the next moment, an excited expression broke out on Tang Ye's face. His gaze upon the corpse was as if he were looking at a precious treasure chest. The followers of the evil god must possess high-level rare items, as emphasized in the training materials before entering the apocalyptic game. Tang Yu immediately began to scavenge the body of the follower, his eyes visibly brightening. Wow, I really hit the jackpot. AS-Val Special Assault Rifle. Type Assault Rifle. Occupied slots 52. Effective range 400 meters. Shooting mode single fire fully automatic. Rate of fire 900. Aiming distance 420. Bullet caliber 939 millimeters. Magazine 30 round VSS magazine. 2 spare magazines, 90 rounds of level 3 armor piercing bullets. Level 3 armor piercing bullet. Type 939 millimeters bullet. Ricochet rate 40. Fragmentation rate 20. Bleeding rate 10. Major bleeding rate 20. Heat 45. Jam probability medium. Failure to fire probability extremely low. Effect can penetrate level 3 bulletproof vests with a 50 chance to penetrate level 4 bulletproof vests, recoil 7. Shattered mask. Type facial. Occupied slots 22. Protected areas eyes jaw. Ricochet probability high. 6B13 assault armor. Type lightweight bulletproof vest. Weight 2. 8 kilograms. Occupied slots 34. Material aramid. Bulletproof level 2. Protected areas chest, abdomen, back, sides, throat, groin. Plate insertion areas front, back. Plate level 4. Movement speed impact decreases by 1. Turning speed impact 0. Military backpack. Container size 42. Reinforced military boots. Type rare equipment for feet. Material leather, cashmere, steel plate. Stab resistance level 2. Insulation level excellent. Movement speed bonus 10. Silent footsteps bonus 15. Fireplace construction blueprint. Type rare blueprint. Effect 1. Build a warming fireplace in the hideout's resting area, raising the indoor temperature by 1050. Effect 2. After igniting every 2 hours, there is a 60 chance to remove 1 negative abnormal status from the survivor. Construction requirements: ventilation duct level 130. Apocalyptic currency 30 units of stone, 10 bolts, 10 nuts. Construction time 1 hour. Looking at the dazzling array of equipment, Tang Ye's lips curled upwards, resembling a fish with a snout. Assault rifles, bulletproof vests with level 4 armor plates, face masks, backpacks, rare equipment, military boots, and rare construction blueprints. Each item, if revealed, could stir up a huge wave in the chat room. But now Tang Yu had an entire set of such equipment, especially the military boots and fireplace blueprint. These 2 items were crucial for surviving the catastrophic event 6 days later, the polar blizzard. The fireplace was not a conventional facility in the hideout, so it did not appear in the construction list, but as long as the corresponding blueprint was used, it could be crafted directly. This was the value of the evil god follower. With the fireplace, Tang Ye's chances of surviving the first disaster event had risen to 40. He quickly stuffed these items into his backpack space, replacing his military boots, bulletproof vest, and primary weapon with new ones. He placed the bulletproof mask over his face, and at that moment most of Tang Ye's equipment had been upgraded. Due to the level 3 armor-piercing rounds in his new assault rifle, Tang Ye's offensive capability had significantly increased. Essentially, any bulletproof vest below level 4 would be as fragile as paper against his attacks, having no effect at all. This realization made Tang Ye's heart tremble. Thankfully, he had frequently played shooting games in his past life, making him well-versed in various battlefield strategies. He had managed to deceive this evil god follower and survive. If he had been hit once by the level 2 bulletproof vest the follower wore, he would have likely perished. This made Tang Yu even more cautious and careful in this city. Just as he was about to head to the 3rd floor to scavenge for supplies, his gaze suddenly fixated on the corner of the staircase. What is this? Tang Yu picked up the notebook, and what came into view was a mysterious symbol depicting a gigantic eye. Inside the notebook were densely packed mysterious symbols that did not belong to any script Tang Yu knew. Notebook of the Cultists of the Evil God, a notebook where the cultists record important information, but one needs the corresponding knowledge or a decryption USB drive to understand the related information. Tang Yu was secretly astonished. He did not expect such an unexpected delight. This notebook must contain important information among the cultists of the Evil God. Unfortunately, he could not decipher the contents for now, and could only put it in his backpack hoping to decode it later. As the 2nd floor had already been looted before the battle, Tang Yu directly proceeded to the 3rd floor. The looting on the 3rd floor went very smoothly without encountering any unexpected situations. Every room was in disarray, with some rooms containing luggage and other items left behind by guests. Unfortunately, they were not space backpacks, so Tang Yu simply collected the supplies inside and left. However, when he reached the last room, Tang Yu discovered 2 interesting little items. Commemorative coin, a precious item. This coin was issued by Luo City to commemorate the 80th anniversary of the victory in the city war, and it is said that some people are collecting these. Keycard holder, container size 44/16 slots. This is a container specifically for holding keys or loose coins. Tang Yu then learned the name of the city he was in, Luo City. The keycard holder was also quite useful to him since just one key would occupy a slot in his backpack. However, by placing all 5 keys into the keycard holder, it would only occupy one item slot in his backpack, saving a significant amount of space. He simply decided to put the commemorative coin in there as well. After Tang Yu finished looting the entire Red Romantic Club, he returned to the kitchen on the 1st floor. After the battle and looting supplies, 2 hours had already passed. Inspired by the key card holder, Tang Yu realized that the backpack space could be stacked. He took out the spoils hidden in the refrigerator. He placed all grenades and small items into the excess ammo pouch or backpack, stacking them one by one. In the end, only the 2 least valuable level 2 bulletproof vests, 2 submachine guns, and 4 melee weapons, military knives, were left that he could not take. Tang Yu directly entered the regional chat. Tang Yu high-level supplies for sale, limited quantity, first come. Tang Yu 2 submachine guns, each with 1 magazine and 30 bullets, limited quantity, trade, rare supplies, blueprints and items, are all acceptable. Tang Yu level 2 bulletproof vests are the best choice for survival and escape, increasing survival probability several times. Only 2 available, priority for trading materials to upgrade hideouts. Quote me, for what you want, highest bidder wins. Tang Yu 4 military knives, a must for brothers, without weapons, priority for trading cotton, stones, wood, and other supplies. Quote me, for what you want, highest bidder wins. After sending out 4 messages in succession, the regional chat screen, which had been constantly refreshing, briefly went blank. The next moment, the chat exploded. Information began to scroll across the screen like a landslide and tsunami, all expressing the shock of the survivors. What did I just see? Did he raid the rebels' armory? Are you insane? I'm still hiding from the refugees. Has you god already gone on a rampage? I just heard gunfire and explosions from a nearby building, trembling in fear. Could it be that this deity is in combat? Did he just wipe out a refugee squad? Why is there such a big gap between people? I'm still starving and afraid to go out while you god is already selling arms. Didn't this big shot also sell weapons and bulletproof vests last night? Is he restocking today? The arms tycoon of the apocalypse. You god, I sent you a private message. Please check if we can trade. There are those who are incredulous. There are those who are shocked and cannot believe it. There are those who feel mentally unbalanced and blame fate. Looking at the dense chat messages, Tang Yu's eyes were already having difficulty keeping up, along with the constant beeping of private chat notifications. He directly turned off the notification sound and began to check the private messages. At the same time, he kept an eye on the situation on the virtual map. Undoubtedly, the number of people wanting to trade for those 2 submachine guns was the highest. However, the vast majority were just trying to joke around and take advantage, and there were even those who wanted to scam him. He directly blacklisted those individuals. Among the remaining messages, Tang Yu saw some relatively good items. Disguise coding sticker type, rare item. Effect, a coding sticker for the entrance of the hideout that changes color automatically based on the surrounding environment, reducing the chance of being discovered by 60. Ventilation duct renovation blueprint. Safety type, rare blueprint. Effect 1. Improves the structure effect of the hideout facility ventilation duct, increasing ventilation efficiency by 40 and harmful gas discharge speed by 30. Construction requirements, level 1 ventilation duct 1.0 Doomsday coins 1 heat resistant, coating 1 exhaust fan. Construction time 2 hours. Finally, Tang Yu decided on these two items. The benefits of the disguise coating need not be emphasized as it would greatly increase the concealment of the hideout. After all, the subway station location might occasionally have refugees entering. If Tang Yu were discovered by refugees while going out or resting at night, it would be a devastating blow. The ventilation duct renovation blueprint could be considered a special upgraded version of the ventilation duct, requiring the construction of a level 1 ventilation duct before it could be renovated, focusing on improving indoor air circulation. Tang Yu happened to have a blueprint for a fireplace. During the first disaster, the polar blizzard would necessitate indoor heating. With this blueprint, carbon monoxide poisoning could basically be avoided. Tang Yu could not help but sigh. There were still quite a few capable individuals among the survivors. Although there are many channels to obtain rare supplies to acquire them on just the second day, Tang Yu would indeed regard the other party with greater esteem. He directly contacted the two individuals and quickly completed the transaction. It is worth mentioning that one of the trading partners was Wang Bohu, who had traded a pistol with Tang Yu yesterday. Wang Bohu was amazed at the speed with which Tang Yu obtained equipment, and Tang Yu also began to pay close attention. It seems that this Wang Bohu is also capable. It is only the second day, and while ordinary people are still struggling to survive, he has continuously obtained rare resources, exchanging them for a pistol and a submachine gun. Perhaps it would be good to keep in touch with him long term. Transaction completed. Tang Yu continued to look at the trading information for other equipment. However, he soon discovered a problem. Tang Yu discovered that the survivor who sent him the trading information provided mainly construction materials, electronic components, food, and water. However, the materials he was currently most in need of, such as stones, wood, and cotton, were nowhere to be found, which furrowed Tang Yu's brow. Could it be that these materials do not drop in urban areas? At this moment, he suddenly recalled the content in the training manual and realized that these types of materials indeed do not originate from urban areas. Stones are generally more abundant in desert or mountainous regions. Wood is primarily produced in forest areas. Cotton should be found in plains and similar regions. Each region has its own unique specialties. The materials produced in urban areas are mainly those commonly used in the city, while food and water are somewhat easier to obtain, making the basic living conditions slightly better than those of survivors in other regions. However, correspondingly, the urban area faces the risk of attacks from refugees and rebels, resulting in a higher death toll compared to other regions. Thinking of this, Tang Yu directly accessed the long unopened world channel. The chat content in the world channel was clearly much sparser than in the regional chat, with only a few scattered dialogues. He quickly edited his message and sent it out. City Tang Yu: 4 melee weapons, military knives, the best choice for self-defense and hunting. Brothers without weapons should not miss out. Trading cotton, stones, wood, wool, etc. Limited quantity. For those interested, I will quote a price. The highest bidder wins. Once this message was sent out, it indeed attracted a large number of survivors' attention. Moreover, the frequency of messages in the world channel visibly increased. Approximately 1 million survivors entered this apocalyptic game, and even with some casualties, the number of survivors still exceeded 9,000. Thus, Tang Yu saw the regional chat becoming even more frenzied than before. Mountain Lu Tao: great. There has been a wolf lurking outside my hideout. Now I have hope. I have sent a trade request to the master. Grassland Majing Tao: awesome. Starting with 4 weapons, all military knives, impressive. Forest Zhang Wenwen: bro, can I borrow your weapon? He'll return it shortly, I promise. West Coast Zhangdong: master, can I trade seafood for your weapons? His private messages were continuously refreshing, quickly reaching over 999. This time Tang Yu was quite experienced and directly set up keyword filtering in his private message inbox. He deleted all chat records without quotes and filtered for potential trading partners. He particularly focused on cotton, stones, and wood, which were the materials he needed most right now, as the next disaster was the polar blizzard. The prices for cotton and wood were evidently higher than those for stones, so there were very limited trading options for cotton and wood. However, Tang Yu was not in a hurry to trade and chose carefully. After all, even though cotton and wood are expensive, many people still possess them. But at this stage, those who could trade weapons were definitely rare, and the existence of a market with high prices but no transactions would mean the urgency should be on the other survivors. As expected, the quotes that appeared later were getting higher and higher. In the end, Tang Yu directly traded his 4 melee weapons for 30 units of cotton, 80 units of wood, 150 units of stones, and 20 units of wool. However, since Tang Yu was currently outside and had no space left in his backpack, he did not retrieve the traded materials after completing the transaction, but stored them in his inbox. He needed to wait until he returned to his hideout before he could retrieve them. The same principle applied to the 2 level 2 bulletproof vests, which he traded with the 2 survivors who quoted the highest prices. Thus, his exploration of the Honglinman Club had been successfully completed, and now his sole objective was to return to his hideout safely. After checking all his equipment and materials again, and confirming that there were no omissions, Tang Yu walked out of the doors of the Honglinman and quickly headed toward the subway station across the street. The journey was quite smooth, with no enemies as he had anticipated. However, due to the excessive loot he was carrying, the originally short journey of just a few minutes took him about an hour to return to his hideout. After a brief rest, Tang Yu began to sort through his spoils. The materials he scavenged from the Honglinmen Club were quite abundant. Apocalypse currency 110000. Valuable items: guitar picks X2, O dolls X2, gold necklace X1, O golden rooster statue X1, O golden egg X1, commemorative coins X1. Medical supplies. Electronic components. The spoils from defeating those 4 refugees and cultists included PP9 submachine gun X2 magazine X4, MP443 pistol X2 magazine X2 9x19mm submachine gun bullets X1 20 rounds 9x19mm pistol bullets X56 rounds M67 grenade. Of course, the biggest gain from this trip was the rare level military boots, weapons, and a level 4 bulletproof vest that Tang Yu directly equipped, including 2 rare level blueprints and the disguise coating sticker. Looking at the piles of loot, Tang Yu felt overwhelmed and directly opened the construction page of the hideout facilities. He looked at the construction requirements for the warehouse. Previously, he thought it was unnecessary due to the lack of items, but now it was time to build it. Warehouse Level 1 Effect provides a 40-slot storage warehouse within the hideout. Construction requirements 1000 Apocalypse currency 1 backpack of 6 slots or more. Construction time 30 minutes. Tang Yu directly took the 8-slot military backpack and selected a location near the main entrance of the hideout to build the warehouse. The military backpack disappeared and 1000 Apocalypse currency was consumed. The warehouse began construction. Tang Yu took out the disguise coating sticker and went outside the main entrance of the hideout, choosing to use it on the security door. The item in his hand disappeared. The security door of the hideout appeared to be covered with a layer of silk, revealing a smooth texture and color. Subsequently, it gradually merged with the surrounding walls in front of Tang Yu. The originally prominent door of the hideout had transformed into a flat wall. Tang Yu was astonished. He walked around the door, observing from various angles, but could not detect any suspicious areas. Wow, this is simply amazing. No wonder it is a rare item. Could it be black technology? After confirming that the coating disguise had no issues, Tang Yu reached for the doorknob of the security door that he sensed in his mind. With a click, the security door opened, revealing the internal scene of the hideout. Tang Yu shook his head repeatedly, uttering a single word: incredible. After he returned to the hideout and closed the door again, the security door slowly vanished once more, leaving only an empty wall behind. Half an hour later, the warehouse had been completed. Tang Yu placed all the available supplies inside. However, he set aside some loot, preparing for another round of trading. Currently, apart from the equipment on Tang Yu himself, there were many surplus items. For example, 3 submachine guns, 1 AK rifle, 4 8-slot magazine pouches, 1 16-slot magazine pouch, 3 pieces of level 2 bulletproof vests, and 4 handguns. Tang Yu could not possibly utilize all these items himself. Keeping them would only lead to dust gathering without generating any value. Thus, he planned to keep 1 submachine gun and the 16-slot magazine pouch, trading away the rest. This way, not only could he acquire high-level supplies or rare blueprints from other survivors through trading, but he could also enhance his own strength and the level of his hideout, better preparing for the upcoming disasters and challenges. On the other hand, this would also improve the combat capabilities of other survivors, allowing them to venture into more dangerous places to gather resources. Once stagnant waters turned into flowing streams, only then could Tang Yu secure better trades for high-level supplies during future exchanges. However, he had already exhausted his speaking quota on the World Channel for today. Thus, he could only post information in the regional chat channel. Tang Yu, 1 submachine gun equipped with 1 magazine and 30 rounds of ammunition, a tool for prosperity, trading only for rare supplies, blueprints, or equipment. Please message me with an offer, no time wasters. Tang Yu, 3 pieces of level 2 bulletproof vests, essential for survival, trading only for bolts, nuts, alloy steel, DVD drives, toilet paper, waterproof tape, soap, and basins. Message me with an offer, no time wasters. Tang Yu, 2 handguns, the best choice for personal protection, compact and lightweight, carrying a full magazine of 16 rounds. Message me with an offer, no time wasters. Tang Yu, 2 8-slot magazine pouches with 8 item slots, each the best choice for resource collection. Message me with an offer, no time wasters. Tang Yu kept 1 submachine gun, an AK rifle, 2 handguns, and 2 8-slot magazine pouches, preparing these for trading on the World Channel tomorrow. After all, he had already traded equipment twice in this area yesterday and today. Given the current population of over 900, releasing this batch of equipment would soon saturate the market. Not everyone could acquire high-level supplies for trade. In the next 2 days, Tang Yu's trading focus would be on the World Channel. When other survivors saw Tang Yu post equipment trading information in the channel again, after a 2-hour interval, their initial shock and disbelief had faded. You see, I knew that Yushin must have taken out an arms depot. Isn't he starting to sell arms again? While these items are as impressive as ever, Yushun's handgun prices have been sent via private message. See, I'm going crazy. Why does this guy have so much equipment while I've barely survived against the bandits? Details please. Meanwhile, Tang Yu was enjoying a beef sausage and juice carefully, checking his private message. Tang Yu had clearly noticed that after the previous 2 rounds of trading high-level supplies in the current area were nearly depleted, mostly consisting of mundane items. However, he was not in a hurry. His equipment was hard currency, and it was a seller's market, making this the perfect time. Once player survival abilities improved, in a couple of days more traders would appear, and they would become smarter. Nevertheless, Tang Yu intended to be the first to seize the opportunity. Sure enough, not long after Tang Yu paused, then broke into a joyful expression. A lead had come in. This was a message seeking to trade for a handgun. What caught Tang Yu's attention was the item mentioned. Graphics card description: a source of electronic components like graphics cards, fans, and integrated circuits, which are excellent electronic components. A graphics card. Tang Yu remembered the secret message he obtained yesterday. Graphics cards were a highly valuable resource after surviving the first wave of the apocalypse, and were essential for acquiring the rare trading currency disaster coins. Haha, what a delightful surprise. Yet the most astonishing part was still to come. This survivor's offer included not only the graphics card, but also other items, 2 of which: insulation coating and exhaust fan. Excited Tang Yu immensely. These 2 items were required for constructing the rare blueprint ventilation duct modification blueprint safety type. Damn, this isn't a trading partner, this is my benefactor. Without any hesitation, Tang Yu immediately contacted this survivor and completed the trade. When these items appeared in his hands, Tang Yu was overjoyed. This is the joy of scoring a deal. Because these items were all collected by survivors in the city without relevant blueprints, they would have no idea what they were useful for. Thus, this survivor completely regarded them as ordinary supplies, choosing to trade with Tang Yu merely hoping to offload them in bulk. When the survivor ultimately traded those completely unknown use items for a fully loaded handgun, his excitement was understandable. He had almost been killed by bandits yesterday, and now finally had some self-defense capabilities. Thus, he quickly became a staunch supporter of Tang Yu, singing his praises in the regional chat channel, causing envy among other survivors. Consequently, many survivors who had been observing changed their perspectives, eagerly sending their own supply off. What if they also had supplies that Yushin needed? Wouldn't that make them the next lucky one? Tang Yu continued to score deals. However, after reviewing all the information, no new high-level supplies appeared, leaving Tang Yu a bit disappointed. There was no helping it. It was only the 2nd day at noon, and he had only been in this game for a day. It was already remarkable to acquire so many supplies. Fortunately, aside from the lack of messages regarding rare supplies for the submachine gun, the offers for other equipment had initially satisfied Tang Yu's trading needs. So he directly contacted the survivors with the highest offers, completing the current trades amidst their continuous expressions of gratitude. Tang Yu, apart from the submachine gun, all equipment has been traded. If you have rare blueprints, items, or equipment, feel free to contact me for weapon trades. Upon seeing Tang Yu's message, all the survivors who had not traded equipment wailed in the chat. Meanwhile, Tang Yu, having obtained construction materials for his hideout, began the full upgrade of his hideout facilities. Ventilation duct level 1. Type shelter facility. Effect: increases air circulation in the shelter by 30, ensuring basic survival needs. Construction requirements: shelter security level 1, screwdriver X1, a duct tape X1, 0 Doomsday coins. Construction time 30 minutes. Bathroom level 1. Type shelter facility. Effect: increases wound healing speed by 20, it reduces the probability of infection by 20. Construction requirements: waterproof coating X1, toilet paper X1, soap X1, basin X1, 0 Doomsday coins. Construction time 1 hour. The construction requirements for these 2 shelter facilities have been fully met. As the construction materials disappeared, the building process began. The most critical facility now is the ventilation duct. Only after the ventilation duct is completed can the 2 rare facility blueprints obtained by Tang Yu be built. These 2 facilities are also what Tang Yu is most concerned about. Fireplace. Type rare shelter facility. Effect 1. Building a heating fireplace in the shelter's rest area increases the indoor temperature by 10°C to 50°C. Effect 2. For every 2 hours of burning, there is a 60 chance to remove 1 negative abnormal status from the survivor. Construction requirements: ventilation duct level 1, a rest area level 1, Doomsday coins 30 units of stone, 10 units of bolt, 10 units of nut. Construction time 1 hour. Ventilation duct modification blueprint safety type. Type rare shelter facility. Effect: modifies the structure effect of the shelter facility ventilation duct, increasing ventilation performance by 40 and the speed of harmful gas discharge indoors by 30. Construction requirements: ventilation duct level 1, Doomsday coins 1 unit of insulation coating, 1 unit of exhaust fan. Construction time 2 hours. Half an hour later, as Tang Yu eagerly awaited, the ventilation duct was finally completed. He saw a square ventilation opening measuring 3,030 centimeters appear on the ceiling near the rest area wall of the shelter. Standing below the ventilation opening Tang, you could even feel a slight cool breeze. Without hesitation, he directly chose to build the fireplace and the ventilation duct safety type. Stones, bolts, nuts, insulation coating, and exhaust fan all disappeared along with 400. All shelter facilities have begun construction. After half a day, it was already 1 p.m. He checked his health data and found that his stamina would take a while longer to recover. He simply lay down on the bed for a nap. 2 hours later, when Tang Yu woke up again, it was nearly 4 p.m. His stamina had fully recovered, and he quickly consumed some food to replenish his energy. Bathroom, fireplace, ventilation duct, safety type facilities have all been completed. The location of the bathroom has been transformed into a small room of about 2 square meters with a toilet and a sink. The fireplace's appearance is quite rough with its top completely open to the roof. The ventilation duct has an exhaust fan installed, which is now slowly rotating. After checking the facilities, Tang Yu began to re-equip himself and check his weapons and ammunition. Yesterday, due to encountering some refugees, he had only scavenged the lounge and changing room of the subway station before hurriedly returning to the shelter with his loot. Now he was preparing to gather the remaining supplies from the station's control room and other rooms, and if he could find a casing, he needed to check if he could find a graphics card. However, plans could not keep up with changes. Just as he finished putting on his bulletproof vest, he froze for a moment, his face revealing a look of surprise. Because in the virtual map of the subway station in his mind, 2 glowing points of light, emitting a faint red glow, lit up. What surprised Tang Yu the most was the direction these 2 individuals were entering the station, which was precisely the subway tunnel he had taken to Red Romance earlier. Is this a tail following me? Tang Yu pondered slightly. The other party emitted a red glow. If they were indeed coming for him, it was clearly not with good intentions. After quickly equipping his weapons and ammunition, he left the shelter and cautiously approached the direction of the newcomers in his military boots. Big brother, are you sure that kid came from here? The skinny man, resembling a monkey, tightly gripped the dagger in his hand, leaning against the wall as he spoke softly to the burly man in front of him. Upon hearing this, the burly man stopped and turned to look at his younger brother. You talk too much. Oh, I saw that person climb up to the platform with my own eyes. Are you doing it or not? If not, get lost. Boss, how can we not? That person has a gun. How can we fight against that? Hearing his younger brother's words, the burly man scoffed. Then amidst the shocked gaze of his younger brother, he took out a pistol from his backpack. What? Boss, where did you get that pistol? Where else could it come from? I bought it. That Tang Yu is really a fool. Oh, I just used some useless junk to trade for a gun. Damn, that's the pistol from the you god. The burly man showed a disdainful expression. You got my ass, he just got lucky. Now I have a pistol too. Just watch me lead you to glory. Alright, enough talking. Be careful. Oh, as long as we take that guy down, we'll be rich. The station fell silent once more, leaving only the sound of the 2 of them walking along the wall. Meanwhile, in the room, just a wall away from them, Tang Yu listened to the conversation outside, his eyes revealing a playful expression. This is interesting. The skinny monkey and the burly man had stealthily made their way to the station's control room. Upon entering the control room, the skinny monkey immediately spotted a mobile phone that had fallen in the corner. Feeling delighted, he quickly stashed it in his backpack, while the burly man was unaware. The burly man turned back to look. What are you doing? Oh, boss, I wasn't doing anything. I've been following you. Following me for what? Split up and gather supplies. The more we find, the better. I found something, boss. Food, I'm starving. The skinny monkey saw a bag of instant noodles on the ground and started munching on it. The burly man, however, ignored the skinny monkey and directly approached the computer casing, glancing back at the munching skinny monkey with a mocking expression. He then began to take apart the casing by himself. CPU fan 1 unit. Power supply unit 1 unit. Electrolytic capacitor 1 unit. Computer CPU processor 1 unit. As the casing was gradually removed, all the electronic components entered the burly man's backpack. However, the burly man frowned deeply. Damn it, 4 cases and not a single graphics card. Before entering the Doomsday game, the burly man had previously bought information about the Doomsday world from the black market, which mentioned that graphics cards would be among the most expensive items after surviving the first disaster. Thus, ever since entering the game, the burly man had been consciously collecting graphics cards. But regrettably, up to now, he had dismantled no fewer than 20 cases, yet not a single graphics card had appeared, which made him feel a bit anxious. He looked at the last casing, no longer holding any hope. But just as he opened the casing lid, his eyes widened and, "You son of a bitch. I struck gold." But the next second, he heard a rush of wind behind his head. The burly man tilted his head and rolled to the side the moment he heard the sound of the wind, but unfortunately, he was still hit. The dagger grazed his shoulder and blood sprayed out. The thin monkey glared at the burly man, who had rolled to the side, a cold smirk curling at the corner of his mouth as he swung the dagger once more towards him. However, the burly man had already drawn a gun from his hand. Bang, bang, bang. The continuous gunshots rang out, bullets striking the walls and ceiling. Unfortunately, the thin monkey dashed behind a control panel as soon as he saw the gun. The two faced off across the control panel. Damn it, thin monkey, you're seeking death. The burly man kept his gun at the ready in one hand, while pulling out a pack of sterile bandages from his backpack, with the other biting open the packaging before wrapping it around his shoulder wound. His movements were tinged with urgency, for he had been alerted that he was losing blood and needed to stop it quickly, otherwise he would soon die from excessive blood loss. The thin monkey, of course, was aware of the situation. Hearing the sound of the bandages, he attempted to rush out twice, but was forced back by the bullets. Taking advantage of the moment, the burly man successfully stopped the bleeding. With his blood gradually replenishing, all his attention was focused on the thin monkey. Tang Yu was hiding outside the control room, listening to the gunfire inside and observing the coordinates of the two on the virtual map. Indeed, in this apocalypse, the human heart is the most unpredictable. He wasn't in a hurry. After all, there was only one exit from the control room, and he could afford to wait until they decided the victor before stepping in. However, his hopes were soon dashed. Possibly due to the gunfire, 4 red dots appeared at the subway entrance on the virtual map, rapidly moving towards the control room. Accompanying these were the anxious voices of the refugees. Hurry, hurry, it must be survivors. This street is being searched by us. There won't be anyone else. Listening to this gunfire, it seems that Luke and the others were indeed killed here by survivors. Oh, what a bunch of useless fools. Remember to leave live ones. A ghost face has been urgently needing 10 survivors for sacrifices, and the price is high. As the refugees approached the control room, they had completely quieted down, even stealthily, making their way towards it. All of this was witnessed by Tang Yu, who hid in the shadows of the subway tracks. Inside the control room, the two were still locked in a standoff, and the gunfire rang out once again. It was this gunfire that confirmed the location of the two, and now 4 refugees had split into 2 groups surrounding the control room's entrance. After exchanging glances, one refugee produced a throwing weapon, and at the moment his companion opened the control room door, he threw it inside. With a sharp, brief explosion, Tang Yu heard 2 incredibly painful screams, followed by wailing. This, a concussion grenade. Tang Yu's expression revealed disbelief. Oh, what kind of origin did these refugees have, and why did they possess concussion grenades? After the screams rang out, the refugees entered the control room, immediately subduing the 2 helpless survivors. Hee 2 people, they should fetch a good price. Alright, let's hurry and leave. The sooner we exchange for money, the sooner we can relax. Just as they were about to depart, a grenade rolled in from the open control room door, landing at their feet. Grenade. The group hurriedly dove for cover. Boom. The explosion of the grenade sent dozens of shards flying, shattering all the glass inside the control room. Damn it, there are still enemies. Be careful of the grenade. This guy is very strong, shouted a refugee wearing a bandit mask. Damn it, those 2 survivors were blown to bits. My money. FCK, I'm going to kill him. My money is gone. Throw grenades, or we need to find a way out. 2 grenades were thrown by the refugees, one far and one near. The closer grenade was thrown at a tricky angle, landing perfectly against the wall near the control room's entrance. This way, the grenade's explosion wouldn't affect the refugees inside the room, but anyone within 10 meters outside the control room would definitely be caught in the blast. This was precisely the strategy of the refugees. At that moment, Tang Yu was crouched behind a stone pillar 30 meters away in the subway hall, watching the scene unfold. The 1-meter diameter stone pillar completely shielded Tang Yu's body, leaving only the barrel of his AS-Val special assault rifle exposed. Wearing a broken mask, he focused his gaze through the sights, locking onto the entrance of the control room. The virtual map in his mind showed all 4 refugees hiding behind the wall, waiting for an opportunity. Boom boom. After 2 consecutive explosions of grenades. Charge quickly, get out. At the command of the bandit mask, the 4 refugees decisively rushed out of the control room, intending to seize the initiative in the battle while the enemy was dodging the grenades. Behind the stone pillar, watching the rushing refugees, Tang Yu's lips curled into a cold smile. Pap 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 pap. Continuous bullets shot into the bodies of the refugees, blossoming like blood-red flowers. The first 2 refugees fell to the ground, directly shot, while the 2 behind them were forced back into the room due to their companions blocking the bullets. Ah, Mom, I want my mom. It hurts so much, cried an injured refugee, collapsing to the ground. 1 dead and 1 injured. After 2 days of combat, Tang Yu had mastered the basic rhythm of shooting, immediately delivering a 3-round burst to eliminate the screaming refugee. There were 15 bullets left in the magazine, and the remaining 2 refugees were huddled inside the room, not daring to show their heads. Tang Yu stood up and threw another grenade into the control room. This time his throw was a bit off, landing just outside the control room's door. Then he jumped down from the subway platform and ran in another direction. Boom. The grenade exploded. Countless shrapnel and debris were sent flying in a cacophony of noise. Using these sounds as cover, Tang Yu successfully repositioned. He hid behind another stone pillar a dozen meters away, reloaded his magazine, and resumed aiming at the control room's entrance. From this position, he could clearly see inside the control room. There were 75 bullets left and 2 grenades remaining. The two refugees inside the room were completely dazed by Tang Yes' attacks. Not only had they directly lost 2 men, but the grenades also kept them firmly trapped inside the control room. What should we do now? We can't get out at all. One of them looked at the corpse of their companion at the entrance and turned to the bandit mask. The bandit mask narrowed his eyes. How many grenades do we have left? 2. Alright, the enemy is about 30 meters behind the stone pillar to the left of the exit. Throw a grenade over there. He will definitely dodge it. This is our only chance. In Tang Yes' view through the position of the refugees on the virtual map, he guessed the other party's intentions. Therefore, just as the refugee held a grenade in hand stepping out from behind the wall to throw it towards his previous position. Bang bang bang. A burst of 3 shots directly hit the refugee, killing him instantly. Consequently, the masked bandit hiding behind the wall became aware of Tang Yes' location through the gunfire. The submachine gun was poked out from behind the wall, starting a continuous spray of bullets towards Tang Yes' position. Dense bullets struck the ground and the stone pillars, leaving a trail of blood on the ground. Behind the stone pillar, Tang Yu grimaced as he looked at the wound on his shoulder. What a damn bad luck, even getting hit by stray bullets. Enduring the pain, he pulled out a grenade and threw it directly towards the control room door, then took out a sterile bandage from his backpack to start bandaging his shoulder wound. Sterile bandage. Type wound treatment. Occupies slots 1. Uses 11. Effect removes bleeding status and grants fresh wound status. Due to the bullet in the wound, although he managed to stop the bleeding, his movements were still restricted, and the piercing pain began to blur his vision. 3 debuffs appeared in his health bar. Bullet wound. Type debuff. Effect: the wound cannot heal completely. Limb movement speed reduced by 10. The bullet must be removed to fully heal the wound. Pain. Type debuff. Effect: vision begins to blur. Fresh wound. Type temporary status. Effect: the wound just bandaged will reopen and start bleeding if extreme movements or running occur. The status will disappear after 5 minutes. Tang Yu peeked again to observe the situation in the control room. The masked bandit, perhaps wary because of his companion's fate, had already closed the control room door before he threw the grenade. The explosion from Tang Yes' grenade created pits in the metal door, yet the main structure remained unharmed. The masked bandit's plan was clear. He intended to rely on this metal door of the control room to engage in a war of attrition against Tang Yu. As long as he could successfully stall until other refugees noticed something was off and came to search this area, he would find his chance for escape. Tang Yu also took the pain relief medication ibuprofen from his backpack. Successfully removing the pain debuff, he gained a 3-minute analgesic status. For the next 3 minutes his body would not be affected by pain. Thus Tang Yu redirected his focus to the remaining refugee. Undeniably, the guy wearing the masked bandit was one of the rare refugees with a bit of tactical thinking. He had avoided Tang Yes' attacks twice consecutively, and even took advantage of his companion being attacked to ascertain Tang Yes' position and successfully counterattack, injuring Tang Yu. Every step he took was calculated with precision. Tang Yu even began to suspect that this guy had intentionally allowed his companion to throw out the grenade to draw fire, creating an opportunity for a counterattack. However the battle should come to an end, Tang Yu lay back down watching the red dot on the virtual map and began to focus his breath. The crosshair and the tactical scope of his assault rifle adjusted continuously on the metal door as Tang Yes' gaze moved. Behind the control room's metal door, the masked bandit pressed himself against the door, listening intently to the outside sounds. At this moment he had been pushed to a dead end, but thankfully as long as he could hold out until nightfall, someone would surely notice the abnormality of their foreman team and enter this block to search for their traces. At that time he would only need to fire his gun to help other refugees locate this subway station, and he would be saved. With this thought, a glimmer of hope appeared on his face. But in the next moment, bang bang bang, a continuous 5-shot barrage pierced through the control room's metal door, blossoming blood-red flowers on the inside. The masked bandit felt the cold bullet inside him and fell down in disbelief. How is this possible? This was Tang Yes' secret weapon. The armor-piercing bullets that could easily penetrate level 4 bulletproof vests rendered the metal door of the control room as flimsy as paper. Confirming the disappearance of the red dot on the virtual map, Tang Yu finally exhaled a long breath. Congratulations, Survivor Tang. You have successfully killed 10 refugees, achieving the title of Refugee Slayer Level 1. Survivor Tang Yu receives the ordinary title of Enemy of Refugees with Regional Legend 1. 2 apocalyptic game prompts appeared on Tang Yes' panel. Achievement: Refugee Slayer. Title: Enemy of Refugees Regional Legend. 3 brand new terms surprised Tang Yu. He then began to look into them. Achievement: Refugee Slayer Level. Acquisition requirement: kill 10 refugees alone. Effect: loot quality 10 after killing refugees. Title: Enemy of Refugees Level Ordinary. Acquisition requirement: the first survivor to achieve Refugee Slayer in the beginner version of the apocalyptic game. Effect: 1/5 damage when attacking refugees. Effect: 2. Refugee faction reputation changes to friendly. Our refugee faction reputation changes to hostile. Regional legend acquisition requirement: achieve special feats or complete special events within the area. Current Legend 1. Introduction: all forces in Luo City have heard of a guy who specializes in hunt. Effect: none. Looking at the introduction information on the panel, Tang Yu felt he had gained a deeper understanding of the apocalyptic game. At that moment, all survivors in the same area as Tang Yu received a message on their panels. In the current area, a survivor has gained regional legend, allowing survivors within Luo City to unlock the legend feature. After this message, survivors noticed a new display slot beside their information panel: Legend 0. This caused the entire area channel to explode with excitement. Who the hell? Which big brother did so? How could it trigger the apocalyptic game to unlock a new feature? Does anyone know the specifics? I'm so curious. Which big shot gained the legend? Could you tell us what this is for? How is this legend obtained? There's no hint. I'm guessing it must be Yushun. It feels like only he has the strength. I think it should be Yushun who's going to ask him. Tang Yu was also researching the legend when he was bombarded by a flurry of private message notifications. Opening the messages, he saw numerous private chats, all discussing his acquisition of the legend. Among them was Wang Bohu, who seemed to possess many undisclosed secrets about the apocalyptic game. He opened his private message. Wang Bohu: big shot, did you gain this legend? Facing Wang Bohu's inquiry, Tang Yu thought for a moment and did not confirm, as he was still unclear about the function of this legend, but it should have some special significance to warrant such an announcement from the apocalyptic game. He didn't want to reveal his information to others. Tang Yu: it's not me. I'm also curious about who obtained this legend. You're well informed. Do you know how to obtain it? Wang Bohu: it's actually not you. What a pity. If it were you who obtained this legend, that would be great. As for how to obtain it, I don't know, only that it's very difficult to achieve. Tang Yu: what do you mean? Is it that important? Wang Bohu: I don't know the specifics either. I've just heard that this legend, after we survive the first round of apocalyptic disasters and merge with the old survivor world, will offer some special benefits. Finishing the chat, Tang Yu looked at the point of legend on his panel. Is it after the world merges again? After 2 thrilling battles in one day, even though Tang Yu had rested in his hiding place earlier, he felt utterly exhausted at this moment. However, now was not the time for him to relax. It was almost 6 p.m. He had to start cleaning up the battlefield. Most importantly, he had been shot in the shoulder. Although it had stopped bleeding for now, he needed to find a way to extract the bullet inside to truly heal the wound. But the only medical supplies he had were bandages, with nothing available to treat gunshot wounds. He could only hope that there were healing items among the loot. If that didn't work, he would have to try his luck trading in the regional channel. A few minutes later, the debuff of fresh wound disappeared. He took another painkiller and began to collect the loot. Tang Yu headed straight for the computer case, curious about what could have caused the scrawny monkey and the brawny man to fight each other. Surely they didn't pry a graphics card out of the case. To his astonishment, when he saw the items inside the case, he exclaimed, "Holy crap. It's really a graphics card." Tang Yu looked incredulously at the graphics card before casting a complicated glance back at the brawny man who had been blown to bits by a grenade. What luck this guy had. He must be a lucky star. No worries, brother. The graphics card you found will be entrusted to me. With this graphics card, he now had 2. Delighted, he stored the graphics card away and shifted his gaze to the corpses of the refugees. Especially that guy with the mask who had been the last to be killed. The equipment on him clearly looked different from that of 1 MP5 submachine gun with 3 magazines, 69 rounds of 919mm level 3 armor-piercing ammunition, 1 PL-15 pistol with 2 magazines, 32 bullets, 1 Damascus dagger, 1 level 3 bulletproof vest, 1 12-slot ammo pouch, 1 grenade, 1 flashbang, 1 small emergency surgical kit, 3 military bandages, 1 gold necklace. Tang Yu's eyes lit up when he saw the description of the surgical kit. Small emergency surgical kit type trauma treatment. Description: a small surgical instrument kit that can treat gunshot wounds and other serious injuries. Occupied slots 2. Uses 55. Effect: treats and removes 1 instance of the shot status or other injuries. Note: after treatment with the emergency surgical kit, only the shot status can be removed. Other healing items must be used to continue treating the wound. Head and chest injuries cannot be treated. Tang Yu took out the surgical kit and opened it, revealing a pair of scissors, a surgical forceps, a skin stapler, and a bottle of disinfectant spray. First, he used the scissors to cut open the fabric around his shoulder. After disinfecting the area with spray, he used the surgical forceps to extract the bullet from his body, and finally used the skin stapler to suture the wound. A simple surgery was completed. The shot debuff was successfully removed. Afterwards, Tang Yu wrapped the wound with sterile bandages until they were used up. The wound had completely healed. This made Tang Yu marvel at the capabilities of the apocalyptic game, which could heal a gunshot wound that would normally take over a month to recover from in just 1 minute. He truly wondered what kind of existence lay behind the game. After healing the wound, Tang Yu continued to strip the equipment off the other 3 refugees. This made Tang Yu's lips curl into a smile once more. As long as I'm in this subway station, it feels once again acquiring a large amount of weaponry. Tang Yes' advantage grew like a snowball, while the gap between him and the other survivors widened. This was precisely the capital for Tang Yu to quickly accumulate resources in the early stages. Plus, with the equipment from the masked bandit, his own gear began to upgrade. What thrilled Tang Yu the most was finding 69 rounds of level 3 armor-piercing ammunition on the masked bandit. Its effect and attributes were not much different from the armor-piercing rounds in the assault rifle he held. The number of armor-piercing rounds he had consumed was replenished. With so much loot, it took Tang Yu 2 trips to carry everything away. The bodies were directly discarded in the control room. When he had been tracking the brawny man and the scrawny monkey, he had passed by the lounge and noticed that the 2 refugee corpses from yesterday had completely disappeared, leaving only a puddle of dark red blood on the ground. Thus Tang Yu estimated that every night the apocalyptic game would automatically refresh the dead refugees. This reassured Tang Yu, as he had worried about a viral plague arising from decaying corpses. It seemed there was nothing. By the time he finally returned to his hiding place, it was already 7 p.m. He sorted through the loot. He planned to keep the MP5 submachine gun from the masked bandit as his backup weapon, so he could also utilize the 69 rounds of submachine gun armor-piercing ammunition. The rest of the weapons and gear would be prepared for trading in the World Channel tomorrow. The trading list for tomorrow had also turned into 2 submachine guns, 2 AK rifles, 7 handguns, 5 melee weapons, 3 level 2 bulletproof vests, 1 level 3 bulletproof vest, and 5 8-slot ammo pouches. It could be considered luxurious. After organizing all the supplies in his hiding place and the items for tomorrow's trade, Tang Yu had a light meal, washed up, and laid down on the bed. He began to review the 2 battles from today. After the gunshot incident, Tang Yu realized that he must become stronger as soon as possible. Although he had achieved great victories in both battles today, only he knew that the reason for his success was entirely due to the virtual map in his mind. It felt like having a wall hack. It would be strange not to win. But what about when encountering ambushes in other places? One must be strong in their own right. With such thoughts, Tang Yu gradually fell into a deep sleep. Late that night, in a building occupied by refugees in a city district, a fat man with a round face and a scar on his cheek, who was listening to his subordinates' reports about the continued disappearance of 4 of his men, showed an expression of uncontrollable anger. Who the hell is opposing me? After losing 10 men over 2 days, even the way his subordinates looked at him began to change. As one of the leaders of the few refugee camps in Luo City, Meat Dog was certainly quite formidable. However, the loss of these 10 men had already posed a slight threat to his status. At that moment, a shadow quietly appeared in the room. Yet Meat Dog didn't notice anything unusual and continued speculating about who was causing him trouble. It wasn't until he inadvertently caught a glimpse of the terrified expression on his subordinate's face that he turned around, only to see a dark figure in the shadows. A bead of sweat had already trickled down his forehead without him realizing it. "Ghostface, my lord. I heard you lost 10 subordinates these past few days." The man in black, known as Ghostface, looked at the Lord. "Ghostface, your information is truly well informed. I indeed lost 10 subordinates. I don't know who is opposing me. These 10 subordinates disappeared without a trace. We're fiercely battling the rebels for territory, yet I have no idea where they were killed." Ghostface, however, directly stated 4 people were killed at the Red Romance Club this morning. They should be your subordinate. Red Romance? How do you know, Lord Ghostface? Looking at the Meat Dog, earnestly questioning, Ghostface slowly replied after a moment of silence, "Because a follower of a god was also killed there." Upon hearing this, the Meat Dog's eyes visibly widened, his pupils trembling. What? A follower of a god is also dead? This news impacted the Meat Dog more intensely than the loss of his 10 subordinates. As one of the few leaders among the city's vagrants, he had a deeper understanding of Ghostface and the evil god's followers than ordinary vagrants. Thus he knew clearly that the followers of the evil god possessed some mysterious and unfathomable abilities. Ghostface fixed his gaze intensely on the Meat Dog's expression, and when he saw the Meat Dog's pupils dilate, he abandoned the thought of killing him. Evidently, the follower's death had nothing to do with the Meat Dog. However, Ghostface became even more curious about the person capable of killing a follower. Although the deceased follower had only recently completed the sacrificial ceremony and was newly promoted, he still had capabilities. The vagrants under the Meat Dog's command would generally have no resistance against the assassination of a follower. "Meat Dog, I need you to help me find this blasphemer against the divine with all your might." "Understood, Lord Ghostface." After receiving the Meat Dog's answer, Ghostface retreated into the shadows under the Meat Dog's gaze, and after a flicker, there was no trace of Ghostface left in the room. The Meat Dog watched, trembling with fear. Ghostface's strength has become even more terrifying. The next moment, he turned to look at the subordinate, who was already drenched in cold sweat. "Inform everyone to intensively patrol the Garden Street and the vicinity of the Red Romance Club starting tomorrow. We must root out that rat hiding in the shadows. Whoever finds him will be rewarded to 0 Doomsday coins." Tang Yu was unaware of the impending crisis. When he woke up again, He felt completely refreshed and full of energy. On the third day of the apocalypse, there were still 4 days until the first wave of Doomsday disasters struck. He could already clearly feel the temperature inside the hiding place beginning to drop. The facility in the hiding place needs further upgrades, and warm clothing should be prepared along with food supplies. Just a fireplace alone doesn't seem very secure against extreme weather like polar blizzards. Let's see if we can gain anything from today's World Channel. After gathering food from the warehouse to replenish his energy, and after a simple wash, Tang Yu opened the Super Monopoly panel. With the arrival of a new day, he earned 128 wealth points. Along with the remaining 153 points from yesterday, the wealth points in Monopoly had now reached 281 points. Tang Yu revealed a pleased expression. He had indeed guessed correctly. The more assets he purchased, the greater the returns he received. Seeing that the number of dice throws had reset to 1, he looked at a property 2 squares in front of the mini Tang Yu figure on the Monopoly map. He covered his mouth with his hands, taking a deep breath. Heaven bless, please show your spirit this morning, and roll a 2. He then chose to roll the dice. What a pity. As the mini Tang Yu began to move, it eventually landed on a pattern marked with Survivor Triggers Special Event Mission, Doomsday Blade Runner. Mission requirements before 240. Today survivors can only use melee weapons, daggers, short swords, bayonets, machetes, or axes to kill 3 enemies. Mission reward: rare skill stealth operation, rare equipment, night, cloak, hooded. Tang Yu. Upon seeing the mission requirements, his face darkened instantly. Is this some kind of joke? Given the current situation, he could only fight enemies using melee weapons and was required to kill 3 of them. This directly blocked the cheating method of using firearms to incapacitate enemies first, then delivering the final blow. But isn't this just ridiculous? When he actually encountered enemies before he could even reach them, he would have been turned into a sieve. The refugees may lack tactical knowledge, but they are neither blind nor foolish. Sigh. It seems today's mission is a waste. Those who know their own business understand that with his current level, he can only manage ambushes and take cheap shots. If he were to engage in a real fight, by next year the grass on his grave would be a foot high. So he quickly adjusted his mindset. First, he needed to complete today's trade. Opening the World Channel, Tang Yu began to edit the trading information. City: Tang Yu submachine gun Image X3, AK rifle Image X2, pistol Image X7, melee weapon Image X5, level 2 bulletproof vest Image X3, level 3 bulletproof vest Image X1, 8-slot magazine holder Image X5. Equipment trading only accepting rare level or cold-resistant items, blueprints, and equipment. Limited quantity, highest bidder wins. As Tang Yu sent out this message, it was like throwing a depth charge into a pond for the entire World Channel. All survivors who saw the message were stunned. Forest: Wang Sherwin. Plain: Zhang Xinhong. What the hell, did I see a ghost this early in the morning? Isn't this the big shot from yesterday's trade? Has he stocked up again? City: Lu Fingyao. A thunderclap in the flat ground. My big shot Yushun has emerged. Worship. West Coast: Gao Chong. Big shots trade has been sent, please check. City: Gao Sheng. This is absurd. I was being chased by refugees for dear life, yet he has so much equipment. Gobi: Wang Luchi. Which rare item is not worth more than this equipment? Dream on. Plateau: Su Xian. Don't be sour upstairs. No matter how valuable your rare items are in a life or death situation, I hope you remain as arrogant. Don't trade at all. Among the 100 survivors who entered the Doomsday game, only about 9500 remain alive today. In just 2 days, over 5,000 people have perished. Many of these people had good starts acquiring weapons and equipment, but at this stage absolutely no one could match Tang Yu's continuous release of so many weapons and equipment, let alone having submachine guns and AKs, which are unparalleled weapons at this stage. This time it allowed all new survivors to recognize the name of Tang Yu. While the World Channel was buzzing with excitement over Tang Yu's remarks, he was already busy checking his private messages, and even so his private messages had once again surpassed 999. At this moment, he was both pained and joyful. At this moment, within the regional chat channel where Tang Yu was located, someone caught sight of the message he had sent in the World Channel, and the regional channel erupted once more. Damn, go check the World Channel. Yushin just put out over a dozen pieces of equipment there, and those people are already fighting over them. This is absolutely insane. Is Yushin even human? How does he have so many weapons and equipment? Could he be the illegitimate son of the Doomsday game? I saw it too. It jolted me out of my sleep. But why isn't Yushin trading in our regional channel this time? There are still plenty of people in our area who don't have equipment. What else could it be? It's because no one in our region has anything Yushin considers worthwhile. Don't forget, yesterday afternoon nobody could offer supplies for that submachine gun. If you ask me, since he has so much gear, why doesn't he just give it to us to boost our strength? No sense of generosity, my ass. Are you his son or his grandson? Why should he give you anything? Screw that. What's there to argue about? Yesterday Yushin already said just contact him directly for a trade if you have high tier supplies. Instead of wasting time blabbering here, think about how to actually get some supplies. Wang Bohu, who had traded with Tang Yu twice before, also saw the messages in the world channel. After a moment's thought, he opened Tang Yu's private message inbox. Because Wang Bohu had previously been marked as a special contact by Tang Yu, his private message appeared right in front of Tang Yu. Wang Bohu, master, take a look. Do you need this? Paralysis toxin image X1. Tang Yu opened it and grew interested. Paralysis toxin, type rare liquid poison, uses 55. Description can be applied to melee weapons or cloth. It induces total paralysis and loss of resistance in the target through blood contact or inhalation. Effect when applied to a melee weapon and striking a target, the target loses resistance within 3 seconds. When sprayed onto a cloth and held over the target's mouth and nose, the target loses resistance within 1 second. Paralysis duration 300 seconds. Note the toxin evaporates rapidly. Use within 3 minutes of application. Tang Yu's eyes widened as he read the description of the paralysis toxin. Damn, that's awesome. Tang Yu, what do you want in exchange? Tang Yu, why aren't you keeping this for yourself? Wang Bohu, master, this stuff is useless to me. I don't have the guts for close combat. I want to trade for 1 submachine gun magazine and 30 rounds of ammunition. Tang Yu understood. Indeed, survivors nowadays were desperate to avoid roving bandits, so the item was somewhat impractical. Yet Tang Yu recalled the special event mission from today. A thought stirred in his mind. Wang Bohu had traded a submachine gun from him just yesterday, with only 1 magazine and 30 rounds. It was natural head, need more now. Tang Yu, fine. However, this fellow had traded a rare blueprint just yesterday, and now another rare item today. It seemed Wang Bohu indeed had his own fortune or secrets. But Tang Yu wasn't particularly concerned. In the Doomsday game, there were many ways to obtain rare supplies. By eliminating rare units like the cultists of the evil god he had killed. Or through treasure hunting, opening hidden safes for rare materials. One could even trade with special units to obtain rare supplies. So whether Wang Bohu had special luck or some other reason, Tang Yu didn't care. As long as he could consistently acquire the supplies Tang Yu needed, their trade of equipment and items could continue indefinitely. Even if Wang Bohu proved his worth later, Tang Yu might lend him a hand if he had the ability. But for now, after the trade was completed, Wang Bohu fondled the fully loaded magazine in his hands. Today I should have a chance to explore that 4S store. Hope I get something good. Tang Yu, on the other hand, looked at the small glass bottle emitting a faint green glow and wore a satisfied smile. A good start. 2 hours later, Tang Yu finally picked out several excellent items from the deluge of trade information. Shelter security upgrade blueprint. Silent alloy door, type rare blueprint, effect 1. The shelter's main door opens and closes without making any sound. Effect 2. The shelter's main door is completely sealed. When closed, it insulates sound between inside and outside with 40 soundproofing. Water cannot enter the shelter. Upgrade requirements: shelter security level 1, seal strip X2, soundproof cotton X2, alloy steel X2, latex X1, and 0 doom coins. Upgrade time 1 hour. Shelter wall upgrade blueprint. Insulation type rare blueprint. Effect reduces temperature loss inside the shelter by 60, 40 soundproofing. Upgrade requirements: ventilation system level 1, insulation board X5, foam glue X1, seal strip X2, 0 doom coins. Upgrade time 1 hour. 07A tactical gloves, type rare equipment. Hand material sheepskin D3, shock absorbing plastic. Warmth level good, finger dexterity bonus 10, grip bonus 15. Black face mask, type rare equipment, face. Material cashmere cotton, warmth good, breathability good, ambient hearing 5, special effect a lifelike black face mask. When worn in dark or dim environments, concealment 20, disguise 20. Rabbit brand sheepskin military coat, type special equipment. Material sheepskin cotton polar fleece, warmth excellent, breathability terrible, movement penalty 15. These 5 rare items and blueprints were the most satisfying that Tang Yu had come across so far, and the items their owners traded were unsurprisingly the 3 submachine guns and 2 AKs. From the IDs of these survivors, Tang Yu saw that they were from other cities. He promptly contacted them to complete. Thinking about the upgrade materials for those 2 rare blueprints, Tang Yu directly messaged Wang Bohu to post a message for him in the world channel. City Wang Bohu Yushan says he currently needs seal strips, soundproof cotton insulation boards, alloy steel. Anyone with these materials can contact Yushin directly for a trade. At the same time, Tang Yu posted the same message in his regional channel. Tempted by the massive stockpile of equipment, within just half an hour Tang Yu had gathered all the upgrade materials needed for the 2 rare blueprints, and the shelter's facility level requirements had long been met. So Tang Yu decisively used the 2 rare blueprints. Upgrading shelter security upgrade blueprint, silent alloy door. Upgrading shelter wall upgrade blueprint, insulation type. Thus all that remained of Tang Yu's traded equipment and weapons were 2 pistols, 1 level 2 bulletproof, vest, 1 melee weapon, and 1 8-slot tactical rig. Another half hour passed as he sifted through the remaining items. All equipment was traded, yielding a large amount of construction materials for shelter facilities. Notably, he also exchanged for 100 Apocalypse coins, as he had nearly exhausted his reserves after building those 2 rare blueprints. Rest Area Level 1. Effect: sleeping for 6 hours restores 80 stamina, reduces satiety by 30, A reduces hydration by 20, A provides some warmth, and has a 10 chance to remove negative effects. Note it's mediocre, but at least you can sleep. Next stage: Cozy Rest Area Level 2. Upgrade requirements: ventilation duct level 100 Apocalypse coins 1, energy saving bulb 1, energy cell. Upgrade time 1 hour. Materials are sufficient. Upgrade now. Yes. After waiting 2 days, the rest area could finally be upgraded again. The next facilities Tangyu planned to build were the kitchen and the generator unit, but since the prerequisite for the kitchen was a level 1 generator unit, he still needed to build the generator unit, even though his shelter already had sufficient power. Generator unit. Effect: generates electricity through fuel combustion, allowing the shelter to utilize a power system. Construction requirements: shelter security level 100 Apocalypse coins 1, cylinder block 1, crankcase 1, spark plug 1, piston set. Construction time 2 hours. Materials are sufficient. Begin construction. Yes. With the generator unit's construction underway, Tangyu finally let out a sigh of relief after a busy morning. He only needed to wait 2 hours for the generator unit to finish before he could build the kitchen, a crucial factor for surviving the first extreme cold disaster. Lying on his bed, he opened the regional chat to see if any other survivors had leads on the special event mission. But as soon as he opened the channel, he saw survivors complaining. What the hell? There are vagrants everywhere today searching for something. I'm too scared to even make a sound in my shelter. Same here. The vagrants have been pacing back and forth over my shelter all morning. My heart nearly jumped out. Wait, where exactly is your shelter? How can vagrants walk over your head? In the sewer? Smells awful, but it's safe enough. Damn, that's hardcore. Crap, the vagrants found my shelter. Help. You still alive, bro? Tangyu frowned. What's happening with the vagrants? Why are they suddenly conducting a massive search? Just then, several red dots appeared on the virtual map in his mind right at the subway station entrance. Vagrant. They moved quickly toward the subway hall, then began searching room by room. Seeing their behavior, a bad feeling surged within him. He immediately started gearing up: combat boots, tactical gloves, level 4 bulletproof, vest, cracked mask. While he was putting on his equipment, the vagrants reached the station control room. They immediately spotted the bloodstains on the floor, bullet holes everywhere, and explosion craters. On guard. At the command, all vagrants aimed in different directions. Alert. The lead vagrant entered the control room to search, and when he spotted several shell casings on the ground, his expression darkened, turning grim. 10 minutes later, Tangyu, fully geared, stood inside the shelter. His face was ashen, his breathing shallow. Because on the subway station's virtual map in his mind, over 20 vagrants had now gathered and were meticulously searching each room around the control room. What had to come finally came. After killing those 4 vagrants yesterday, Tangyu had anticipated this scenario, but he hadn't expected it to arrive so swiftly. He had originally thought it would take at least another day or 2 before the vagrants pinpointed this subway station, which was why he had eagerly traded supplies for rare equipment. But now it seemed something had gone wrong. A silver lining: he had successfully converted all his spoils into personal. The vagrants had now reached the station staff restroom, the same room where Tangyu had killed 2 vagrants on the Upon hearing his subordinates report, Black Dog came to the restroom, picked up a half-smoked cigarette, but from the dried bloodstains. When I catch you, you bastard, he snarled. Unlike the 4 killed in the control room, those 2 missing vagrants were Black Dog's men. They had been sent to capture survivors in the city that day, only to vanish mysteriously. Now he knew they had died. Search. All of you spread out and search every corner of this station. He must be inside. Whoever finds this rat gets 5,000 reward. At Black Dog's order, over 20 vagrants dispersed through the subway station. Still wary of the unknown enemy's strength, they searched in pairs or trios. Watching them scatter, Tangyu pondered their intentions. Meanwhile, in the regional chat, survivors who had been terrified of the vagrants sensed a change. Guys, how's it over there? It's been almost half an hour without a vagrant around here. Same. I saw them receive some message and dash in one direction earlier. Why haven't I seen any vagrants today? Yesterday, I spotted one occasionally. From the chat messages, Tangyu realized the vagrants' citywide search today was for him. Now that they had found where his victims died, this subway station was likely under their heavy surveillance. Good thing I traded for the camouflage coating sticker yesterday to hide the entire shelter. That would have been a real mess. This was why Tangyu still remained relatively calm. He understood and trusted the rare item's effect. As the vagrants searched, and Tangyu waited, the shelter's security door and insulation walls under upgrade were successfully completed. Hiding place security, soundproof alloy door level 2. Effect 1. The door of the hiding place opens and closes without making any sound. Effect 2. The door of the hiding place is completely sealed, isolating sound between the inside and outside spaces, achieving a soundproofing effect of 40, preventing water from entering the hiding place. Hiding place walls, insulated level 1. Effect: the temperature loss speed inside the hiding place is reduced by 60, with a soundproofing effect of 40. Tang Yu could finally breathe easy and deeply. Meanwhile, the search team of the refugees had arrived near Tang Yu's hiding place. It was a 2-person team. I really don't know who has such great abilities to kill 6 of us. Be careful. Didn't Big Black Dog say that person is likely hiding in some corner? It's so annoying. I found the location of a survivor girl yesterday and was planning to catch her tonight for some fun. Do you have a cigarette? Pass one over. At first the two were quite vigilant while patrolling, but after not finding that person despite so many of them, they felt that the murderer must have already left, as who would stay behind after committing a murder. Moreover, when they came down just now, there were so many people making a commotion. Even if the murderer was truly hiding here, he would have escaped by now. Thus, the inherently casual nature of the refugees was revealed. The refugees were a complex mix composed of scavengers, thugs, and street punks who survived the apocalypse with no discipline whatsoever. At this moment, they leaned against the wall, watching the deep and dark subway tunnel, smoking leisurely. They just hoped to finish the search here quickly so they could return to their carefree lives. Meanwhile, Tang Yu was focused on the virtual map, constantly adjusting its angle and view, analyzing the move. By coincidence, the wall that the two refugees leaned against was the very wall of Tang Yu's hiding place, just a turn away from the entrance. Of course, due to the camouflage coating, the entrance to the hiding place had completely vanished. Even if the refugees looked over, they would see nothing but an ordinary wall. Tang Yu's attention was drawn to the special event quest he obtained this morning, Apocalypse Runner. It seems that this quest is not impossible to complete. Soundproof alloy door, insulated wall, paralyzing poison. The effects of these 3 rare-level items were constantly rearranging in Tang Yu's mind. Silent door opening, along with the 80 soundproofing enhancement of the hiding place, allows for rapid paralysis of opponents with poison, combined with the stealth effect of Tang Yu's rare-level military boots and the camouflage coating. By chance, Tang Yu found an opportunity to complete this quest. He thought about the 2 rewards after completing the quest: 1 rare skill, 1 rare equipment. Tang Yu admitted he was tempted, although he knew this idea was extremely. As long as there was any flaw, if the refugees had a chance to shoot, the situation he would face next would be unimaginable. However, faced with the enormous temptation of the rewards after completing the quest, Tang Yu quickly made his decision. Let's do it. Every major gain he had in the past few days was earned through life and death struggles. The greater the storm, the more valuable the fish. Take a gamble and become rich for 3 days. With the advantage of the virtual map, it's worth trying. Without hesitation, Tang Yu packed away all weapons that could hinder his actions, such as the assault rifle, into his backpack space. He approached the security door, observing the positions of the 2 in the virtual map. A towel had already appeared. The paralyzing poison can be applied to melee weapons or sprayed on the towel to cover the enemy's mouth and nose. The duration of effect varies. Using a melee weapon to stab the enemy requires 3 seconds for them to lose their resistance. However, covering the enemy's mouth and nose with a towel only takes 1 second to end the fight. Tang Yu knew his own situation and decisively chose to use the towel to cover the mouth and nose. Now he just needed to quietly wait for the opportunity. Outside the hiding place, the 2 refugees had smoked halfway through their cigarettes. One of them yawned and walked toward the corner of the wall. What are you going to do? Taking a leak. Don't go far. Call me if you need anything. After a simple exchange, the refugee went to a corner about 10 meters away to find a suitable spot for his urgent needs. His gaze landed on a stone pillar about 3 meters from the wall. With a cigarette in his mouth, he unzipped his pants. As he approached the stone pillar, closed his eyes, hummed a tune, and looked. He did not notice that behind him, where the wall had once been seamless, a large door had appeared, and a shadow had quietly emerged from the room behind him. Just as he finished relieving himself and his body involuntarily shivered, a towel suddenly covered his mouth. The refugee's eyes widened instantly, and he began to struggle. Instinctively, he reached for the gun at his thigh, but at that moment his hand was still occupied with his pants. By the time he pulled it out, it was already too late. Tang Yu quickly felt the refugee's struggles growing weaker and heavier. He knew the paralyzing poison was starting to take effect. Not daring to hesitate, after confirming that the other refugee showed no reaction, he cautiously dragged the fully paralyzed refugee back to the hiding place. At this moment, the refugee's wide-open eyes revealed a mix of fear, panic, and disbelief. And upon seeing the door of the hiding place close, there was only endless despair left in his gaze. As a dagger pierced straight into the refugee's heart, Tang Yu watched the numbers on the panel change from 03 to 13. He finally breathed a sigh of relief. It's feasible. Tang Yu left the dagger in the refugee's body, resulting in very little blood flowing out. This was intentional. He did not want the hiding place to be filled with the stench of blood. He took out another weapon and tucked it at his waist. He had returned to the entrance of the hiding place, continuing to wait for an opportunity. Outside the hiding place, the remaining refugee discarded the burnt-out cigarette, but opening his eyes to look in the direction his companion had gone, revealing a puzzled expression. Damn, why is this guy taking so long to pee? Could it be that he can't hold it and is making an emergency again? The refugee muttered to himself, but shouted loudly. Hey, 3 centimeters, you should be done by now. Let's hurry and find the others. But even after 5 seconds, there was still no response from his companion. At this moment, the refugee began to feel something was off. He quickly raised his gun, disengaged the safety, and racked the slide. He focused all his attention on the corner of the wall. 3 centimeters, don't be joking. Hurry up and come out. Still there was no reply. Now the refugee was genuinely feeling a bit anxious. He was sure he hadn't heard any sounds just now. Damn it, could it be that he ran into something dirty? At this point he had reached the corner. The refugee gazed at the corner of the wall, the gun's muzzle slowly turning with his sight. When he finally saw the empty corner, there was no one there, only a stone pillar and a blank wall. The refugee let out a huge sigh of relief in his heart. Damn, that scared me. Where did the guy 3 centimeters? He quickly scanned the surroundings and found no trace of 3 centimeters or anything suspicious. His previously taut nerves began to relax. Damn it, that guy wouldn't have run off to another place to relieve himself, would he? He pondered. He searched the entire area but still found no news of his companions. The refugee was in a complete panic. He had to quickly notify the leader, Black Dog. With that thought, he remained alert to his surroundings and hurried back. However, as he passed by the stone pillar, he suddenly caught a whiff of urine. Instinctively, he looked down and noticed a puddle on the ground which he previously overlooked due to the marble flooring. It was clearly urine. The presence of this liquid indicated that his companion had resolved their personal issue. With this realization, the refugee felt a sense of foreboding. Just as he was about to turn back, a slightly damp towel was silently pressed over his mouth and nose. He barely had time to. Bang, bang, bang. The sharp staccato gunfire echoed in the empty subway station. Who fired? Did we spot the enemy? Inside the control room, waiting for search results, Black Dog suddenly stood up upon hearing the abrupt gunfire. He arrived at the subway hall where refugees were already looking at him. Boss, the sound came from the left. Go, everyone move out. Tang Yu, hiding in a safe spot, tossed some spent shell casings to the ground, his expression very grim. He had done his best for perfection, yet in that brief second the refugee had still managed to pull the trigger. Fortunately, he reacted quickly. After dragging the refugee into his hiding spot, he collected the spent shell casings from the ground and used a blanket to soak up the puddle next to the stone pillar. The entire process took less than 30 seconds. Just a few seconds after he returned to his hiding spot, refugees had already begun to appear nearby. Black Dogs soon arrived as well. Who fired the gun? Hearing Black Dog's question, the surrounding refugees looked around in confusion. Was it you who fired? No, we just got here. It wasn't us, we came with the boss. Seeing the discussions among his subordinates, Black Dog furrowed his brow. Dog brother, it wasn't one of us who fired, a subordinate whispered. Check if anyone is missing. Has everyone arrived? Black Dog said in a deep voice. Everyone's hearts skipped a beat as they hurriedly confirmed they had not really paid attention to the over 20 people present. Soon someone said, Boss, it seems 3 centimeters and 2 dogs are not here, but I saw them searching just a while ago. Yes, I saw them come over too. Quiet. Now all the refugees understood. Those 2 were most likely in serious trouble. The recent gunfire could very well have been their response upon encountering the enemy. That rat must not have run far. Everyone dig 3 feet into the ground and find him for me. With Black Dog's command, the refugees began searching the area, even shooting into suspicious or shadowy spots without a second thought. Inside the hiding spot, Tang Yu, who had already sent off the second refugee with his own hands, was now fully armed. Hiding behind the fireplace in the resting area, he held an assault rifle aiming at the entrance of the hiding spot, completely still. In the brief 3 minutes just passed, no less than 6 refugees had walked past his door, all of whom were deceived by the disguised entrance, glancing quickly before turning elsewhere. Even so, beads of sweat appeared on Tang Yu's forehead as he observed the 20-some refugees moving around the vicinity on the virtual map. The pressure was immense. It wasn't just Tang Yu feeling the pressure, Black Dog was equally stressed. Haven't we found that rat yet? After over 10 minutes of meticulous searching, without progress, Black Dog finally could not sit still. From the moment he heard the gunfire to their arrival, it took about a minute. In such a short time, they couldn't even handle the bodies, let alone leave. However, the result now was that the 2 missing subordinates had vanished without a trace. Not even a hint of a battle could be found. By the way, have we determined the location of the gunfire? Hearing Black Dog's inquiry, the subordinates displayed a helpless expression and shook their heads slightly. Dog brother, we searched this area and found no shell casings. We could have determined it through footprints on the ground, but 7 or 8 people arrived before us, so we can't use that either. Damn it, could that guy have gone invisible? Just then the sound of intense gunfire came from the other side of the subway. Boss, we've spotted that guy. He's in the tunnel exchanging fire with us. At this a look of joy appeared on Black Dog's face as he exclaimed, "You bastard, I've finally caught your trail. Everyone hurry to support." With that he took off towards that direction with other refugees, following closely behind him, their faces twisted into sinister smiles. As they only needed to take care of this kid, Black Dog would surely reward them tonight. The last refugee in the group was already fantasizing about what reward Black Dog would give tonight. But suddenly a towel was pressed over his face from behind. In the next second he felt his entire body paralyzed, stiffening in place, unable to control even a little. Then a man wearing a broken mask appeared, dragging him away like a dead dog into the wall beside him. He watched as the black door slowly closed. He finally understood that the person they had been searching for had been hiding right under their noses like a silent, ghostly hand. Hiding behind this wall that everyone had seen more than a dozen times, he quietly observed them. He estimated he would have no chance to inform his companions of this discovery, for he had already seen the two cold bodies lying on the ground, both of whom he recognized having drunk together. One was named 3 centimeters, and the other was called 2 dogs. They were the very ones he had been searching for. Seeing the terror and despair etched on their faces, he understood. This was also his fate. As the cold blade pierced his heart, the chill spread throughout his body. Ultimately, he sank into darkness. Survivor has completed the special event quest, Apocalypse Blade Runner. In reward, acquired rare passive skill Stealth Movement, rare backslot, equipment Night, Cloak, Hooded. In Stealth Movement type, rare passive skill description, this skill muffles footsteps and reduces the radius within which sound propagates. Affects and increases movement speed while stealth, and reduces footstep noise on standard surface terrain, and decreases the audible range of stealth movement, and dampens noise generated by weapons and gear. Nat maximum level renders movement silent across all surface types. Proficiency 0-1-0-0-0-0. And how to increase proficiency and gained incrementally during stealth movement. In Night Cloak, Hoodin type special backslot equipment. Material black camouflage coating cotton specialized polyester fiber. In special effect, Eye in Darkness or Shadow Concealment efficacy increases by 30, and likelihood of being overlooked rises by 30. Special effect 2 footstep noise as well as auditory signatures from weapons and gear are reduced by 30. Sound propagation radius is likewise diminished by 30. At last the skill bar was no longer barren. Tang Yu stared wide-eyed at the 2 rewards he had just obtained. And holy, this is insane. Had he possessed this skill and gear earlier, he would have confidently crept up behind the vagrants for a surprise strike. No need for the exhausting convoluted maneuvering he'd just endured. In Stealth Movement and Night Cloak together produced a synergistic effect far greater than the sum of their parts. Stealth Movement and Night Cloak together produced a synergistic effect far greater than the sum of their. Studying their attributes, Tang Yu strode swiftly to the warehouse and retrieved the Black Man mask acquired in that morning's trade. Black Man mask in type rare, faces lot equipment. Material cashmere cotton. In thermal insulation excellent. In breathability excellent. In environmental auditory acuity 5. In special effect, a hyper-realistic black man's portrait adorns the mask. When worn in darkness or shadow, concealment efficacy increases by 20, and disguise effectiveness rises by 20. The 2 pieces were a perfect complement. In combined, the Night Cloak and Black Man mask granted Tang Yu a cumulative 50 concealment bonus whenever he remained within darkness or shadow. Add in the increased likelihood of being overlooked and enhanced disguise capability, and Tang Yu dared not even imagine the outcome. He had become sovereign of the night. In holding the 2 artifacts and his new skill, his mind ignited with dazzling novel strategies. Neither item offered meaningful protection in direct combat. Both lacked defensive properties entirely. Yet he could now pursue an assassination and exploration path. Operating exclusively under cover of night would allow him to infiltrate zones previously inaccessible, and do so with greater safety than daytime reconnaissance. This revelation electrified him. His gaze locked onto the subway station's virtual map, where over 20 red blips slowly encircled a single yellow one. Though the yellow blip steadily retreated, it was clearly overwhelmed by the sheer numerical superiority of its foes. Since you aided me once, I shall return the favor. After equipping himself, Tang Yu draped the Night Cloak over his shoulders and replaced his shattered facial covering with the Black Man mask. As he pulled the hood low over his brow, a shadow-wreathed assassin was born. Emerging from his hiding place, he leapt down into the rail tunnel and began sprinting swiftly through the gloom. And instantly he sensed the difference. His footfalls and the rustle of gear had grown markedly quieter. And within shadow he felt an uncanny sense of belonging, as though darkness itself were an old familiar home. And he instinctively knew precisely where to stand, and in what posture to vanish utterly into the obsidian void. It was as if encoded in his very bones. And this sensation was profoundly extraordinary. And amidst this surreal awareness, Tang Yu closed rapidly upon the battlefield, where the vagrant's assault had already assumed a dominant, suffocating rhythm. The yellow blip now clung desperately to the tunnel's dim recesses for survival, its position edging perilously close to the outer boundary of the subway station's virtual map. Simultaneously, his private message window lit up. In Wang Bohu Legend, save me. Do you still have submachine gun ammo? Urgent. Wang Bohu Legend, save me. Do you still have submachine gun ammo? Urgent. In frowning at the message, Tang Yu stiffened. In no way. In Tang Yu, is it you being attacked by vagrants in the tunnel right now? N. Wang Bohu. In Wang Bohu Legend. How did you know? Are you nearby? Save me, Legend. In Wang Bohu's reply clarified everything. No wonder he'd held out this long against such overwhelming numbers. If this were true, it made perfect sense. It sounded improbable, but Wang Bohu had traded with him that morning for submachine gun rounds and magazines. Conserving them carefully was entirely plausible. Out of gratitude for Wang Bohu's earlier diversion, drawing the vagrants' attention away, he sent over 60 rounds and 1 grenade. In Tang, you hold them off. I'll create an opening to extract you. N. Wang Bohu, oh my god. Thank you, Legend. The next instant gunfire erupted anew, rapid, furious, and concentrated, deep within the tunnel. And simultaneously, the yellow blip on the virtual map shifted to a soft, tranquil green. Tang Yu understood the map's color coding in red, hostile, and yellow, neutral, and green, friendly. This reassured him completely. He could now intervene without hesitation. By now he had entered the tunnel, his entire form swallowed by absolute darkness. And within the pitch-black corridor, muzzle flashes bloomed like scattered stars. His target, the vagrant, at the very rear of the formation. He could already hear their guttural snarling cries as they advanced. His steps softened to near silence. The bayonet rested snugly in his right hand, his body bent low, feet alternating in measured fluid strides. In stealth movement, his gait became imperceptible, his motions feather-light. A voice, gravelly and coarse, echoed from some unseen cranny in, take your time shooting. Let's see how much ammo he's got left. I want him alive. He killed too many of ours. We'll make him feel our power. Tang Yu's expression twisted into something wry and incredulous. And so that was why they'd swarmed in en masse. In Wang Bo, who had unwittingly taken the fall for him. May virtue be rewarded. And upon hearing Black Dog's words, every vagrant's face contorted into a cruel, anticipatory grin, and they pressed forward inch by relentless inch. The rearmost vagrant fired controlled bursts toward the survivor's position, until his weapon clicked hollowly on an empty chamber. And he ducked sideways behind a wall, unslung a fresh magazine from his belt, and began reloading. By then Tang Yu had already closed to within 2 meters of the vagrant's blind spot, silent as death incarnate in the dark. N. Tang Yu, initiate attack. Draw their focus. In Wang Bo, who affirmative, Legend. An instant later, gunfire erupted ahead, vagrants scrambling for cover or returning fire. The rearmost vagrant finished reloading just as the sharp staccato of gunfire flared from the tunnel's far end. In he raised his weapon, sights locking instantly onto the survivor's location. But in the split second before his finger tightened on the trigger, a sudden icy chill kissed his throat, followed instantly by the searing rush of hot blood. The razor-edged bayonet had slit his carotid. And chess. And gurgle. Tang Yu carefully laid the body of the refugee on the ground, casually flicking the blood off the dagger, before continuing to stealthily approach the next target. The refugees were unaware of the change in the team as the Black Dog's attention was fully focused on the survivor, who was gradually being surrounded by them. Noticing the significant decrease in the survivor's attack frequency, the Black Dog felt a surge of joy. Brothers, this guy is out of bullets. Let's go and capture him. Upon hearing the Black Dog's words, the refugees immediately split into 2 teams. One team of 3 or 4 people provided cover from the back, continuously firing at the survivor to suppress him. The other team, also comprising 3 or 4 refugees, moved along the wall towards the survivor, preparing to capture him alive. The Black Dog positioned himself in the middle, waiting for the battle to conclude. Wang Bohu was unaware of this. At that moment, he was hiding in a recess of the tunnel, changing the magazine. Just as he prepared to continue attacking to draw fire, Tang Yes message arrived. Tang Yu, don't attack. Take out the grenade, pull the pin, and throw it back 5 meters as Tang Yu, the enemy is close to you. Upon seeing Tang Yes message, Wang Bohu was taken aback. Without time to think, he hurriedly followed Tang Yes' instructions, taking out the grenade, pulling the pin, and holding it in his hand, waiting for Tang Yes' command. Wang Boa, master, I have the grenade ready. Tang Yu gently laid down the second refugee, sheathing the dagger, and after re-equipping his assault rifle, he also gripped the grenade in his hand. He wanted to continue harvesting secretly, but the situation on Wang Bohu's side clearly did not allow for any delay. So he directly approached a position 10 meters behind the team of refugees providing cover, quietly waiting for the opportunity. When he saw on the virtual map that the refugees capturing Wang Bohu were within 6 or 7 meters, he sent a message. Tang Yu, now. 5 meters back, throw it. Tang Yu, after the grenade explodes, shoot at the wall 20 meters to your left. As this message was sent Tang Yu through the grenade, he was holding towards a spot 10 meters away. When the grenade landed at the feet of the refugees providing cover, no one noticed. Their attention was entirely focused on Wang Bohu in front. However, when Wang Bohu's grenade was thrown and fell at the feet of the refugees trying to capture him, it was immediately noticed. Grenade. Run. Yet it was evident that Wang Bohu was not inexperienced. He had deliberately timed it before throwing. Boom. The two teams of refugees suffered heavy casualties amidst the wails. The two consecutive explosions accompanied by the screams of their own people left the black dog dumbfounded. He could not understand why explosions were occurring behind them, but when he saw the flames erupting from Tang Ye's hand, everything became clear. There are enemies behind us. Attack! Attack! The refugees began to counterattack, but at that moment Wang Bohu had already poked the muzzle of his gun out from behind cover, starting to fire in quick succession. Tang Yu was not foolish enough to stay in one place. After firing 5 shots he rolled and dodged, then continued shooting from a half-crouch position before rolling and dodging again. With the effects of the dark cloak and the black mask, Tang Ye's position could only be seen for a brief moment. When he fired after the refugees shot back, they only hit the ground. Wang Bohu was also quite cunning. He revealed no more than the muzzle of his gun, emptying the magazine in the direction Tang Yu indicated. Boom! Tang Yu threw out another grenade. Immediately all that could be heard in the tunnel were the continuous wails and screams of the refugees. Until the end, when all the bullets from Wang Bohu's submachine gun were expended and the bullets from his pistol were also emptied, almost all the refugees had fallen, leaving only 3 or 4 injured ones on the ground groaning in pain. After 6 or 7 gunshots rang out, all the refugees were killed. The entire tunnel suddenly fell silent. In the darkness, Tang Yu clutched his thigh in pain, quickly swallowing a painkiller to alleviate his suffering. While taking out a surgical kit to perform surgery on himself, he constantly kept an eye on the color of Wang Bohu's dot on the virtual map. Although it seemed that Wang Bohu's displayed color was now purer and deeper green, Tang Yu did not dare to be the slightest bit careless. Wang Bohu was continuously sending private messages to Tang Yu. Wang Bohu Master, I have run out of bullets. Are there any refugees left? Wang Bohu Master, I hear no sounds. Have all the refugees died? Wang Bohu Master. Wang Bohu Master, are you okay? Don't scare me. Wang Bohu Master, you did this to save me. I didn't expect. Wang Bohu Master. Tang Yu, I'm not dead yet. Don't worry. Wang Bohu Master, you're still alive. That's great. At that moment Tang Ye's injuries had completely healed, and he stood up, raising his gun again. Tang Yu, all right, the refugees are all dead. Come out. Saying this, Tang Yu lowered the hood of his cloak, he turned on the flashlight, and shone it towards Wang Bohu's position. Come out. Just as he finished speaking, Wang Bohu had already poked his head out from behind cover, grinning as he walked towards Tang Yu. Master, it's finally nice to meet you. What the hell? Upon seeing Tang Ye's face, clearly Wang Bohu displayed a horrified expression. He looked at Tang Yu in disbelief. Then Tang Yu realized that he was still wearing the black mask, so Wang Bohu naturally saw only a black figure. I'm wearing a mask. Hearing Tang Ye's explanation, Wang Bohu finally showed a look of understanding. Throughout this process, Tang Yu also kept a close watch on the changes in Wang Bohu's color. If there was the slightest shift, he would shoot without hesitation. And indeed, Tang Yu noticed a change in Wang Bohu's color. It seemed to be becoming greener. Like the color of an imperial jade, it was so green that it shone. Tang Yu, with a calm demeanor, lowered his gun and casually asked, Wang Bohu, did you have a girlfriend before? Wang Bohu was puzzled, but answered truthfully. I had one, but she left me. I was so upset that I voluntarily joined the apocalypse game. Cough, cough. It's nothing. Tang Yu slightly pursed his lips. It was then that he noticed Wang Bohu was merely a 17 or 18-year-old boy, which surprised him greatly. I didn't expect you to be so young. Wang Bohu shyly scratched his head. I just turned 18 this year. Tang Yu smiled inwardly, and then gestured towards the bodies of the refugees that Wang Bohu had blown up. All right, hurry up and collect the spoils. Take as much as you can. This tunnel had more than 20 bodies of refugees, and sharing some spoils with Wang Bohu was certainly reasonable. Not to mention that he had indirectly helped Tang Yu by drawing a lot of fire in the tunnel. Master, really? Although Wang Bohu had thought of this before hearing Tang Yu actually say it, made him a bit incredulous. Happiness had come. Really, as long as you can take it, go and loot. Be quick, the refugees should have already set their sights on this place. Wang Bohu did not hesitate. He indeed needed these weapons and equipment to enhance his combat ability. He quickly headed towards the location where the grenade had exploded. Tang Ye's gaze shifted towards the position of the black dog, a smile appearing at the corner of his mouth. Collecting spoils was such a joy. Moreover, this refugee leader could control over 20 refugees, so he should have some good items, right? Tang Yu and Wang Bohu did not waste much time, nor was this the moment to assess the quality of their spoils. Wang Bohu stuffed every bit of space in his backpack, and finally carrying 2 submachine guns, he turned to look at Tang Yu. God, I'll head back first. They'll message you later. Go on. Watch out for refugees on the way. Watching Wang Bohu's struggling figure disappear into the pitch-black tunnel, Tang Yu did not stay idle either. He made several trips back and forth, moving all the equipment and supplies from the refugees into his hideout. He also transferred the 3 corpses inside the hideout into the tunnel, creating the illusion that after annihilating the refugees in the tunnel, the enemies had retreated deeper into it. Then Tang Yu carefully cleaned up any possible traces around the hideout. Only then did he finally let out a long sigh of relief. The events of today had truly been heart-pounding. Fortunately, Tang Yu had been preparing for rainy days ever since the first day he entered the Doomsday game. He had continuously improved his own strength equipment and the facilities of his hideout. This was how he managed to survive such a fierce battle where the disparity in power was immense. Most importantly, luck was on Tang Yu's side. If Wang Bohu hadn't traded him the paralytic toxin, Tang Yu wouldn't have smoothly completed the Doomsday Raider mission and obtained those 2 rewards. If Wang Bohu hadn't suddenly appeared for some unknown reason, drawing the refugees' attention, Tang Yu wouldn't have had the chance to launch a sneak attack from the shadows. Thinking of this, Tang Yu paused slightly, a strange expression crossing his face. Come to think of it, this guy is practically my lucky star. On the other side, Wang Bohu finally made his arduous way back to his own hideout. The main reason was that Tang Yu had told him to take as many things as he could carry. So Wang Bohu had loaded himself to full capacity, crawling back at a snail's pace the entire way. Throughout the journey, his mood was a mix of tension and excitement. So much equipment felt like a complete reversal of fortune. This time, he brought back 4 rifles, 4 pistols, 6 or 7 grenades, and a full load of magazines and ammunition. The rest were the medical supplies he had deliberately scavenged. Staring at the room full of gear, Wang Bohu wore a silly grin on his face. Suddenly remembering something, he quickly opened his private message inbox. Wang Bohu got him back safely. With that, Tang Yu directly traded him 4 bulletproof vests. Tang Yu, your spoils, keep them safe. These 4 bulletproof vests were from the refugees killed by Wang Bohu's explosives. Wang Bohu couldn't carry them earlier, so Tang Yu brought them along. He didn't care about such trifles. He no longer thought much of level 2 bulletproof vests, and he had a good impression of Wang Bohu, so he might as well do him a favor. As expected, Wang Bohu was thrilled upon seeing them. Wang Bohu, God. You. Tang Yu, alright, I'm getting bit. Wang Bohu, God, go ahead. Only then did Tang Yu begin to seriously consider the potential vulnerabilities of the subway station hideout. Because Tang Yu knew that after this a greater crisis was inevitable. This time it had only been a little over 20 refugees. Next time, they might face dozens or even hundreds of enemies. The urgency in his heart grew more pronounced. Without a doubt, after acquiring the night cloak and the black face mask, darkness had become the most secure environment for Tang Yu. Whether for attacking or hiding, it offered a distinct geographical advantage. Thus Tang Yu could no longer sit still. He put on his equipment again and directly went to the electrical room of the subway station, where all the circuit power switches of the entire station were located. After 2 grenades, the electrical room was in shambles, sparks flying everywhere. Consequently, the entire station plunged into endless darkness. Tang Yu turned on his flashlight and entered the electrical room again to check, ensuring that all the machines were beyond repair. Only then did he return to the hideout. Now he finally felt completely at ease. He also understood why, even though the city's power system was still operational, the hideout required survivors to build a generator set facility. Presumably the Doomsday game had multiple considerations. However, because the station's power system was damaged, the hideout was also plunged into darkness. Previously, Tang Yu had not built any lighting facilities in the hideout, relying entirely on the subway station's power and lighting system. Now he had no choice but to build them. Lighting level 1. Effect uses candles to provide illumination for the hideout. Construction requirements 1000 Doom coins, candle X1, lighter X1. Construction time 5 minutes. Construction conditions met. Proceed with construction. Yes. 5 minutes later, the level 1 lighting facility was completed. Tang Yu immediately upgraded to level 2 lighting. Lighting level 2. Effect uses basic lighting to provide illumination for the hideout. Upgrade requirements generator set level 1, lighting level 1, light bulb X10, wire X10, switch X1 0 Doom coins. Upgrade time 1 hour. Insufficient upgrade materials. Unable to upgrade. Tang Yu realized that this upgrade required a large number of light bulbs and wires, so he sought trades on the regional channel. The trade went smoothly. These were basic supplies in the city area, and he successfully traded with just 1 dagger and 1 level 2 bulletproof vest. He immediately started upgrading the lighting facility. During the upgrade, Tang Yu was not anxious. He lay on the bed and rested with his eyes closed. When he woke up, he found it was already evening. The lighting facility had already been upgraded. Tang Yu first took 2 barrels of fuel he had prepared earlier from the storage and poured them into the fuel generator. As the generator set started, it emitted a faint hum and began working properly. When Tang Yu pressed the lighting switch, the entire hideout was once again filled with light. A satisfied smile curled at the corners of his mouth. This generator set is pretty good. Must be some kind of black technology. The machine sound is very faint and the exhaust is directly connected to the ventilation ducts. Nice. Since only the lighting needed electricity at the moment, he adjusted the generator's power output to the lowest. He believed these 2 barrels of fuel would keep the generator running for a long time. Then Tang Yu went outside the hideout. After carefully confirming that the sound, light, and vibration from the generator inside the hideout were undetectable from outside, Tang Yu finally felt at ease. He silently thanked himself again for the decision that morning to trade for the soundproof alloy door and insulation walls. Back in the hideout after starting the construction of the kitchen facility, which he hadn't gotten to that day, Tang Yu finally had time to sort through the spoils of today's battle. Undeniably, the harvest was unprecedented. Especially as he gazed at the equipment spread across the floor, Tang Yu felt a faint sense of achievement. The night has fallen into complete darkness. In the refugee camp, Meat Dog inquired once more, "Has Black Dog not returned yet?" "No, Boss Dog brother hasn't returned. He sent someone back at noon, saying they found the place where our brothers were killed right inside the Huayuan subway station, and took over 20 brothers with him to find the enemy. With so many brothers with Dog brother, he should be back soon, right?" Meat Dog listened to his subordinate's report, and his unease grew more pronounced. Though reason told him that Black Dog accompanied by more than 20 subordinates would not encounter any accidents, it was already night, and he should not have taken this long. "No, send someone to look for Black Dog, and check what's going on." Following Meat Dog's command, a team of over 10 people set off again towards Huayuan subway station. At this moment, Tang Yu was seriously studying a map in his hands. Map of Bai Tower District, K Luo City. Type intelligence item. Occupied slots 21. Description: this is a detailed map recording the street information of Bai Tower District in K Luo City. This was also Tang Yu's first intuitive understanding of the street information and locations in his area. He quickly pinpointed the location of the subway station he was at. It was positioned right in the middle of the central area and the boundary of Bai Tower District. Neither particularly good nor bad Huayuan Station was named after the nearby Bai Tower Flower Park. At the same time, Tang Yu found the location of the previously visited Red Romance Club on the map, indeed, it was only 1 station away. Tang Yu also located apartment 15. It was situated between the direction of Red Romance and the next station. According to the map's annotations, it seemed to primarily house the middle class, because right next to it was a massive shopping supermarket and a luxury car 4S shop. A bank was also located. Simultaneously, a building marked as Trading Center was circled in red on the map. The words base. This trading center is the lair of the refugees in this area. Tang Yu put away the map. Its value was now substantial enough for him to do something. He then took out a key. Key to room 903 of Pinewood Hotel. Effect: can open room 903 of Pinewood Hotel. Both of these items were obtained from that refugee leader. Tang Yu speculated that the key should belong to this person's private room, which likely contained supplies they had hoarded. Thinking of this, Tang Yu couldn't wait to rummage through it. Next, he had 2 exploration directions. One was apartment 15. He already had 3 keys to this apartment, so he could explore it. The other was room 903 of Pinewood Hotel. Notably, this Pinewood Hotel was located right next to apartment 15, separated only by that bank building. However, Tang Yu still needed to decide based on tomorrow's Super Tycoon event. Due to the excessive amount of loot today, the warehouse obviously couldn't hold so many things, so Tang Yu simply placed them in a corner. He soon felt drowsy. He had expended too much energy today and quickly fell asleep. Just a few minutes after, the group of refugees sent by Meat Dog to find Black Dog finally arrived at Huayuan subway station. Why is this place so dark? Quiet, turn on the flashlights and proceed with caution. The team leader, seeing the subway station shrouded in darkness, had already developed a bad feeling. In such an environment, Black Dog certainly did not seem like someone who could stay for long. Yet he couldn't ignore his boss. Thus, everyone began searching through the subway station. They also saw bloodstains and signs of battle on the control room floor. As a result, the group slowly explored, and finally, when they reached the tunnel area, one person shone their flashlight into the tunnel and seemingly saw something. "Brother, there seems to be something lying on the ground in the tunnel. Go take a look." After walking a few dozen meters into the tunnel, everyone revealed expressions of disbelief. "This is 3 centimeters right." One refugee recognized the identity of the corpse. "There are more ahead. This person seems to be Ergo." Now everyone was in a state of panic, shining their flashlights deeper into the tunnel. 1, 2, 3. 20. Familiar faces lay on the ground apart from 5, who were killed by military knives. The others had obviously experienced intense battles. Each person had wounds from various sizes of bullet holes and shrapnel from grenades. The team leader looked at Black Dog, who lay on the ground with wide eyes, unable to close them, and felt immense dread. What a joke. Black Dog, along with over 20 people, had been killed here. It was evident that this was a premeditated attack against their camp. If the attackers had not left, these 10 or so people would be completely defenseless. Not only him, but other refugees also looked at the piles of corpses in utter horror. Many of them had been drinking together just the night before. "Oh, everyone retreat quickly. The leader hastily took a few photos of the scene in the tunnel and urgently instructed his subordinates. Thus, all the refugees began to flee in confusion. When they finally stumbled out of the subway station entrance and saw the bright moonlight above, they all breathed a sigh of relief. Looking back at the dark subway station behind them, it seemed like an endless hell. After briefly recovering their stamina, they hurried back to the camp. What? You say Black Dog, and over 20 people are all dead in the subway tunnel. Meat Dog looked incredulously at the subordinate reporting to him. Boss, here are the photos taken. All of Black Dog's equipment and weapons are missing, only their corpses remain. I estimate this was an organized attack specifically targeting us. Taking the photos, Meat Dog gazed at the lifeless eyes of Black Dog and the other refugees. His face was extremely grim and filled with anger. Who exactly is plotting against me, Cabin or the Butcher? He approached the city map on the wall to inspect it. Cabin occupies the 4S car shop, while the Butcher is in the theater building. Looking at the route from this subway tunnel, it indeed leads in their direction, and the Red Romance Club is right at the intersection of our 3 territories. Damn it, could it really be those 2 guys trying to set me up? Although he couldn't be sure of this speculation, Meat Dog understood that he couldn't remain idle, otherwise his subordinates might have various thoughts. Thinking of this, he said to his subordinate, "Notify Dagger to come see me." 10 minutes later, a man clad in black and wearing a skull mask appeared before Meat Dog. Dagger, you should have heard that over 20 of Black Dog's men died in the tunnel today, along with the 10 from a few days ago. That makes over 30 lives lost. Only Cabin and the Butcher have such power. I want you to take your men and show them a little color, while our brothers cannot die in vain. Be discreet about it. Listening to Meat Dog's instructions, Dagger said nothing more, simply nodded before leaving. Watching Dagger's departing figure, Meat Dog took a deep drag on his cigar, his eyes narrowing. Cabin Butcher, although I don't know if it was you who did this, but I have no choice now. If it's not you, don't blame me. Later, several leaders from other refugee camps in Luo City received news that the capable subordinates of the Meat Dog, over 20 men, were killed in the subway tunnel. In just a few days, nearly 40 of Meat Dog's subordinates had already died. When this news spread, everyone was astonished, although Meat Dog was not well regarded and his rise to power was not glorious. However, it cannot be denied that the strength of the refugee camp, led by Meat Dog, was not too shabby. Now, there were actually people capable of causing such a significant loss to Meat Dog without him being aware, and he had not yet caught a single clue. After confirming that it was not someone from their own ranks who had done this, the leaders of these refugee camps began to find this situation amusing. After all, those were nearly 40 fully armed warriors, although they were not as elite as the Northern rebels. But they were not completely defenseless cats or dogs. Someone could carry out these actions silently. Even these leaders were weighing in their hearts whether their own people could handle such a situation. Meat Dog must have angered someone he shouldn't have. Otherwise, why would he be specifically targeted? This thought occurred to more than just 1 or 2 people. Subsequently, commands were issued to the subordinates in each refugee camp. Although expressed differently, the intent was the same. Stay low these days, keep away from the subway station, and do not provoke those you shouldn't provoke. Then these individuals waited for Meat Dog's actions. Each of them adopted a spectator's attitude, relishing Meat Dog's misfortune. Moreover, the main concern was that everyone was looking for opportunities to annex Meat Dog's territory. The refugees were nothing more than a pack of insatiable hyenas. They were not interested in who opposed Meat Dog. In the eyes of the refugees, there were only territory and benefits. Just after midnight, it had been 6 hours since the refugees discovered the bodies of the Black Dogs and others. The Huayuan subway station welcomed new guests. If Tang Yu were awake at that moment, he would clearly see a pitch black dot appearing at the entrance of the subway station on the virtual map. This figure walked through the dark subway passage, crossing the hall and entering the subway tunnel, all in complete silence. In its wake, even insects and ants would perish within seconds. Like a ghost of death that did not touch the ground, it moved silently, bringing death upon sight. At this time, the bodies of the Black Dogs and others had vanished, leaving only pools of blood and bullet holes scattered across the tunnel walls, along with a faint scent of gunpowder. This person examined everything meticulously, from the bloodstains to the bullet holes, and then to the locations of the 3 grenade explosions. After obtaining the results he desired, he left silently once again. The tunnel fell silent once more, as if no one had ever been there. What? Only 2 people? This is impossible. Meat Dog exclaimed in disbelief. Are you questioning me? No, I dare not, Lord Ghostface. It's just, this news is indeed shocking. After all, those were over 20 fully armed men. They were not just 20 chickens. In the shadows of the room, Ghostface looked at Meat Dog, his expression behind the mask showing disdain. Meat Dog, do not forget who placed you in your current position. Meat Dog was drenched in cold sweat. Lord Ghostface, I wouldn't dare. If it weren't for you, how could I be in this position? Just know that now that the news has come to you, find a way to locate these 2 individuals. Yes, Lord Ghost. On the 4th day of the apocalypse, there were only 3 days left until the polar blizzard disaster. Tang Yu tightened the blanket draped over him and shivered. Damn, this weather is indeed starting to get cold. It was supposed to be a week after entering the game when the apocalypse would strike, yet changes resembling pre-disaster conditions were already occurring. After feeling groggy for a few more minutes, Tang Yu rubbed his still sleepy eyes and stretched. He got out of bed, approached the generator, and switched it on before turning on the lights. The hiding place was illuminated. Tang Yu discovered that the kitchen facilities had been completed, which appeared to be just a small countertop with an electric cooker. This apocalypse game is impressive, he sighed inwardly. He then took a box of milk and a pack of bread from the store. After briefly heating the milk in the electric cooker, he ate breakfast by taking a sip of milk, followed by a bite of bread. Not satisfied, he took out a can of luncheon meat and began to eat it heartily. This feels great. Tang Yu had been in this apocalyptic world for 5 or 6 days. This was the first time he had eaten warm, delicious food. In the previous days, due to survival pressures, he could only eat bread or beef sausages when hungry and drink bottled water when thirsty. This was indeed a bit unbearable for Tang Yu, who was used to warm meals, which was also the reason he hurried to build the kitchen yesterday. As the weather grew colder, he couldn't imagine how he would endure eating cold food. While soaking bread in hot milk, he had already opened the regional chat channel. He wanted to see if anything had occurred last night. The results showed a peaceful scene. Compared to being chased by refugees in a panic the previous morning, it was incredibly tranquil. Of course, there were still some people in the channel complaining about a lack of food and water, seeking assistance from others. However, everyone's attitude was surprisingly consistent. It was already the 4th day, unlike survivors born in forests, deserts, or other harsh environments. Food in the city was not that hard to find. As long as one dared to go out and search for supplies fulfilling basic daily survival needs was hardly a problem. But this person had no food at all. That could only mean this person simply didn't go out to search, thus other survivors would never risk their lives to share the food they found. They are not his parents. After eating and drinking to his satisfaction, Tang Yu tidied up briefly. With a face full of expectation, he opened the Super Monopoly panel. I wonder what time I will roll today, though I hope it's still property if special event tasks are too difficult. Today's investment wealth points had been issued again, gaining 128 points, bringing his total wealth points to 409. I've surpassed 400 points. Tang Yu was very pleased. Yesterday I rolled a special task. It must have been because I didn't activate the spell correctly. I'll try a different one today. After thinking for a moment, he said, Lord Guan Wu, God of Wealth, Lord Guan, bless me to roll property today. The dice shook. Tang Yu stared intently as the dice stopped, revealing the number 6. His eyes had already darted to the mini Tang Yes position 6 spaces ahead. Upon seeing the pattern above, Tang Yes' eyes widened. What the hell? Tang Yes' expression was incredibly gloomy. It was simply because the icon for that position was still a symbol. How can I be so unlucky? Tang Yu had already laid down heavily, burying himself in the blanket. Survivor triggers unexpected event. Windfall wealth points 200. My. Hearing the prompt sound from the Super Tycoon, Tang Yu suddenly sat up and looked at the panel. Tang Yu now felt that it wasn't so hard to accept after all. It seems that praying to Master Guan has indeed worked. Even when triggering an unexpected event, I can still get money for free. With this, his wealth points soared to an astonishing 609 points. In a great mood, Tang Yu happily closed the panel. He began to plan his work schedule for the day. Today marked the 4th day since arriving in the apocalyptic game, and the temperature had noticeably dropped. Tang Yes' most critical task now was still figuring out how to survive the first round of the apocalyptic disaster. Although the construction of his hiding place was already far ahead of other survivors, survival in the apocalypse was not about competing with other survivors, but rather about battling against the disaster. Tang Yu still felt there was room for improvement in his hiding place. Currently, there was a fireplace for heating, a kitchen for food heating, and insulation walls for warmth, but no one knew how severe this blizzard would be. After all, with the polar descriptor, Tang Yu estimated it would be at least minus 50 to 60 degrees Celsius. Adding the 50 temperature boost from the fireplace would only bring it close to 0 degrees, still very cold. What if the extreme cold disaster was even worse, dropping to minus 70 or 80 degrees Celsius, or even lower? Moreover, this disaster was expected to last for 3 long days. Tang Yu felt that preparations must be made early. The more heating facilities, the better. While they weren't strictly necessary, they could not be absent. In addition, more fuel for the generator needed to be stored, as well as the production of bedding. Since the rest area upgraded to a level 2 cozy rest area due to the consecutive events, Tang Yu hadn't had the chance to check the newly added bedding production list, which he could also trade for materials today. This morning he already felt a bit cold, even with the insulation walls in place. Tomorrow the temperature would likely drop even more severely. If he caught a cold in his sleep, that would truly be adding insult to injury, and he needed to stock up on medicine. There was also the need to stock up on food and upgrade the warehouse. These were all pressing matters for today. Just thinking about it made Tang Yu feel a headache. Tang Yu quickly determined his work tasks for today. He wouldn't venture out to explore during the daytime, since there were no new properties to earn, and it wasn't worth the risk. Instead, he would focus on upgrading facilities in his hiding place, trading for materials, and crafting items in preparation for the extreme cold disaster in 3 days. This would allow him to digest the massive amount of equipment and weapons he had collected yesterday, otherwise there would be no room to stand in the hiding place. With the decision made, Tang Yu went to the warehouse to check the upgrade requirements. Warehouse Level 1. Effect: acquire a 5x840 slot material warehouse within the hiding place. Next stage: expanded warehouse Level 2. Upgrade requirements: warehouse Level 1, ventilation duct Level 1, grow Doomsday coins 3 items with more than 12 slots, 2 units of wood, 1 pack of nails, 1 pack of WD waterproofing agent. Upgrade time 1 hour. Current upgrade materials are insufficient, upgrade not possible. The material requirements for this warehouse upgrade are significantly higher than before. Fortunately, the hardest to obtain 12-slot items were among the spoils from yesterday. He happened to have a few 12-slot weapon holders available. The remaining materials should be obtainable through trade. Next, he checked the newly released production list for the rest area. Loose cotton blanket production requirements: 25 units of cotton, 1 needle and thread. Comfortable bedsheet production requirements: 2 units of fleece fabric, 1 unit of polyester, 1 needle and thread. Buckwheat pillow production requirements: 3 units of buckwheat husk, 1 pillow, 1 needle and thread. Looking at the new bedding production list, Tang Yu frowned. He wasn't particularly satisfied with these items. It seems I'll have to place my hopes on trading instead. Since that's the Tang Yu directly opened the World Channel to edit his trading information for today. A few minutes later. City: Tang Yu submachine gun image X13, AK rifle image X7, shotgun image X3, pistol image X23, melee weapon image X23, level 2 bulletproof vest X20, level 3 bulletproof vest X4, trading drawings, items, equipment, and materials, prioritizing rare items and warmth-related items. Limited quantity, me privately for trading. He sent the same message to the regional chat channel. The result was that this message directly silenced both the World Channel and the regional chat channel. After a full 10 seconds, Tang Yu still hadn't seen anyone refresh the chat information. Oh no, really? The chat channels in this apocalyptic game can crash too. Tang Yu incredulously speculated that just a few days ago, as soon as he sent out trading information, there would be a swarm of comments. What was going on today? Just as he was thinking this, the information in both the World Channel and the regional channels began to scroll wildly. His private messages also started to increase rapidly again. So there was a delay? You scared me. Tang Yu also let out a sigh of relief. However, the survivors who saw Tang Yu's message couldn't calm down at all. Although the equipment Tang Yu had traded before was outrageous, at least it had limits that everyone could accept. Moreover, the survivors who had purchased weapons from Tang Yu in the past few days had also started to see returns. Now both the World Channel and the regional chat channel would occasionally have people trading weapons and equipment. So the weapon trading was no longer as shocking as it had been a few days ago. However, they had never expected that just a day later Tang Yu would unleash his big move again. Dozens of guns, over 20 melee weapons, and bulletproof vests. It was simply refreshing the survivors' perception of weapon and equipment trading. City: Lu Haitao. Is Yushin finally not pretending? Has he taken out everything from his arsenal? Forest: Lu Mintao. This is ridiculous. Yushin suddenly releasing so many items. Doesn't he fear inflation? Grassland: Wang Minmin. I think Yushin is impressive. This can help more people improve their survival capabilities. Just wish the prices were lower. City: Wang Bohu. Everyone don't think it's expensive. These things were obtained by Yushin fighting against over 20 drifters, risking his life to get them. If you need weapons and equipment, hurry and contact Yushin. West Coast: Neo Dayton. Wow, it seems the person above knows some insider information. Is it true? Tang Yu simply took a glance at the chat content and once again focused on selecting trading targets. The road ahead is long and arduous.